Chapter 163, Chapter 163, Cloud Earth Fruit. Chapter 163, Cloud Earth Fruit. Crash! An ear-piercing tearing sound rang out. All the martial artists were suppressed in front of these two attacks, unable to move at all. He could only use his true chi to protect his body and watch the two attacks collide. Rumble! The two attacks collided, and a shocking explosion sounded. Destructive sword chi scattered in all directions, and the two figures quickly retreated. Along with a blood-spurting noise, the sword power of the infinite sword was destroyed. The sword whistled through the air and hacked down on Dishi Nanyang's body. Dishi Nanyang released a faint light from his body. The light flashed and blocked most of the sword power, while the remaining power sent Dishi Nanyang flying away. What a terrifying saint artifact! What terrifying sword chi! The look on Dishi Nanyang's face was extremely ugly. If it wasn't for the protection of the treasure at the last moment, he would have been dead by now. Li Lingtian was forced back by the impact of the sword breath. However, with the inner armor and the true dragon's protection, his mind was only shaken for a moment. Looking at Dishi Nanyang, he was shocked. Powerful warriors from outside forces were indeed powerful. If they were 5th-level martial emperors from Green Island, he would have killed them with this strike. The killing intent towards this young man grew stronger. Knowing that he had a saint weapon, he couldn't let this young man stay, not to mention that he was a genius of Dishi family. He couldn't let outsiders know about the saint weapon because he still had to go to the Azure continent. His strength couldn't be exposed. Heaven and earth burn. All of you die. Li Lingtian glared at the warriors below him. These warriors had witnessed his strength and he had to kill them. There was no such thing as a wall that could not be breached in this world. Hence, he had to eliminate them by the roots. A shocking sea of fire pressed down, and instantly, the area within a radius of 100 meters was covered in flames. All! Screams rang out as all the martial kings evaporated in the blink of an eye. Even the martial arts grandmasters were quickly injured. 1,000 shadow petals. Li Lingtian's eyes hardened when he saw the few martial arts grandmaster powerhouses continuously resisting the flames. He swung the Tianyu sword in his hand and countless sharp sword breath burst forth. The sword chi turned into threads and the martial arts grandmasters fell into the sea of fire. Kill him to silence him. Dishi Nanyang showed a bitter smile. This young man is killing people to silence them. I'm in danger now. If it were him, he would have done the same. After all, the saint artifact was too heaven-defying. If too many people knew about it, it would definitely cause trouble. If it wasn't for the fact that his family had a saint artifact, he wouldn't have recognized this as a saint artifact. Yes, but you are from Dishi family. You can stay here today. The Tianyu sword in Li Lingtian's hand disappeared. He did not like to use the same move against a powerhouse because the same move would be disadvantageous to him if his opponent was on guard against it. The moment Dishi Nanyang put away the sky sword, he couldn't help but be shocked. He put away the saint weapon. Could there be other treasures? He smiled bitterly in his heart. He was a 5th-level martial emperor super genius, but he was actually made crazy by this martial king youth. Alright, since you want to silence me, let's see what shocking ability you have. Emperor Sure Destruction Formation. The look on Dishi Nanyang's face gradually changed. He felt uneasy, but he couldn't tell exactly what was wrong. A martial king's disciple would make a martial emperor super genius feel terrified if he was empty-handed. In this world, experts were as common as the clouds, and iron laws were as firm as mountains. However, there were some magical things in this world that emerged one after another. This youth was that magical person. Activating his vital essence, he threw a scarlet pellet into the air. His aura became violent, and his rank 5 martial emperor instantly reached the peak of rank 6. His hands kept flying around, casting mysterious spells one by one. Suddenly, the spatial aura changed strangely, forming spiritual energy vortexes. In the distant sky, as the spiritual energy vortexes formed, a supreme pressure descended. Dishi family's magic formation was indeed powerful. Li Lingtian was shocked when he saw the changes in the sky. Some time ago, he had done some research on the Dishi family and found out how powerful the Dishi family was from the rumors. This magic formation was also the most magical treasure of the Dishi family. Very few people could cast it. Unexpectedly, Dishi Nanyang had done it. No wonder he dared to give the space banner to Dishi Nanyang. With such a powerful warrior, it was absolutely safe for him to damage the formation and saint weapons. This array is indeed powerful. However, with your martial royal realm cultivation, you can only use it forcefully. It's just a facade. If you're a martial honor, you can barely use this move. In Dishi family, there are only 2 people who can truly cast the Dishi Destruction formation, and you are definitely not one of them. Try my Ice, Fire, 9 Heavens. Ice, Fire, 9 Heavens, Second Heaven, Destruction. Li Lingtian spoke with assurance like an elder guiding a junior. With that said, he drew a line in the air with his hands and a ball of flames and a glacier formed before he slowly joined his hands together. Suddenly, a 3-colored light appeared in the sky. The space was filled with the aura of destruction and death, as well as the supreme pressure that descended from the sky. The 3-colored light turned into a light beam within a blink of an eye, then smashed down towards Dishi Nanyang, who was 1,000 meters away. I don't know why you know Dishi family so well, but today, only you and one will leave this place. Dishi Nanyang's face had already turned numb. He was beyond shocked by this young man's attack. At this moment, he could only activate the Emperor's Destruction formation. A 10-meter wide light circle was formed, looking like a giant colorful bubble. However, everyone knew that this bubble had the power to destroy. Without any suspense, the pillar of light and the huge colorful bubble collided. Immediately, the space between heaven and earth trembled. A shocking light shot into the sky, covering the area within a radius of 10 miles. There was no explosion, only an invisible destructive force spread out. At that moment, Li Lingtian waved his hand and the heaven and earth creation cauldron appeared. A beam of light enveloped the cloud earth fruit tree. A blood-spurting noise was heard. Floating in the air, Dishi Nanyang looked calm, but the despair in his eyes had turned into ashes. Dishi Nanyang powerlessly fell to the ground. In midair, he had lost all signs of life. He couldn't be more dead. Dishi family is indeed powerful. A martial emperor is so powerful. What if he is a martial supreme or a martial emperor? Li Lingtian mumbled to himself. Besides, Dishi Nanyang was only a genius in the Dishi family. The real strong ones were cultivating in seclusion. He quickly darted towards Dishi Nanyang and grabbed with one hand. The violet sun sword returned to his hand, along with a storage bag. After doing all that, he waved his hand and burned Dishi Nanyang into ashes. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. With a flash, 17 5,000-year-old cloud earth fruits entered the divine dragon ring. Sweeping his divine sense around, he collected all the storage pouches of the cultivators who had been killed. In a moment, his body flashed and disappeared into the horizon. After he disappeared, some warriors rushed over. They only saw the trembling space and the collapsed earth. Their faces were filled with fear. What kind of expert could cause such a huge commotion? Li Lingtian left quickly with Little White leading the way. They flew along the precipice for 3 days before Li Lingtian found a more secluded place to rest. Along the way, he encountered many martial artists, but he disdained to pay attention to them. When he encountered good medicinal herbs, he would directly snatch them away. Upon seeing that it was Li Lingtian, they could only be angry but did not dare to say anything. This was a Tier 9 warrior ascendant powerhouse who was killed in one blow. Who would dare to provoke young Master Lingtian from Sky Dragon Empire? Countless herbs and fruits were put into the divine dragon ring. Elysian Moon was the only level 4 or 5 demonic beast that could escape. He didn't know how many magical beasts he had killed, but he felt that the materials and inner cores of the magical beasts in the Holy Demon Ring were increasing. When he was resting, he began to calculate. He had already entered the devil. Canyon for half a year. There was only half a year left before he left. In other words, he didn't have much time left to kill magical beasts and search for materials. He could only prepare to leave in 5 months at most. He had gained a lot from this trip, so he had no regrets when he left. After calming down, he circulated the heaven and earth reincarnation technique, and a 4th-grade purple jade pill entered his body. The powerful medicinal power circulated rapidly. The heaven and earth reincarnation technique transformed the medicinal power of the pill into true qi. Finally, it circulated in his meridians and entered his dantian. It was at this moment that he felt his realm loosen. He had reached rank 7. Martial King for more than half a year and was at the peak of rank 7 Martial King. After the great battle, his experience had increased, and his state of mind had improved. Now, a medicinal pill had actually loosened his realm. He smiled excitedly when he realized this. After the Martial King realm, it was difficult to advance any realm. Moreover, the difference in power between each realm was also like the difference between heaven and earth. With a flick of his divine sense, a jade bottle appeared in his hand. He swallowed another purple jade pill and closed his eyes. He quickly circulated the heaven and earth reincarnation. Boom! Half an hour later, there was a loud bang in his body. He broke through the bottleneck of a rank 7 Martial King and entered rank 8 Martial King. The true qi in his body was also circulating rapidly, stabilizing his realm. Li Lingtian used his inner vision to check the condition of his body. Apart from the fact that his true qi had become denser, the amount of his true qi had also increased significantly. His meridians became tougher and stronger, and his physique was sublimated. A rank 8 Martial King is at least twice as powerful as a peak rank 7 Martial King. Li Lingtian opened his eyes and muttered to himself with a confident look on his face. If he were to face a martial arts grandmaster now, he could easily kill him. After that, he did not leave immediately. Instead, he continued to cultivate to stabilize his realm and master some skills and treasures. He had stayed in the cave for a whole month. During this month, all kinds of skills had improved a lot. With a strong cultivation, he would have powerful treasures and skills. Now, his strength had increased by another level. Chapter 164, Chapter 164, Ice Flame. Chapter 164, Ice Flame. He also understood that his strength was already heaven-defying. An ordinary martial king was no match for a martial arts grandmaster. Even a rank 1 martial arts grandmaster and a rank 9 martial king were worlds apart. It was almost unimaginable that he could kill a martial emperor. In the history of the divine martial continent, there had never been a martial king who could kill a martial emperor. He was a pioneer, mainly because of his ice and fire martial spirits, heaven-defying cultivation methods, skills, and treasures. In Green Continent, even some super sects didn't have any saint weapons. Even if they had heaven weapons, they would treat them as sect treasures. The martial arts grandmasters of Green Continent could only use profound level weapons. Unless they were martial royal realm experts or had an emperor weapon, any low-grade emperor weapon would be enough to make a martial royal realm expert bleed. As for the supreme grade emperor weapon, it was the most powerful treasure of a super sect. Celestial artifacts were legendary to martial arts grandmasters. A martial royal realm expert could look down on the Azure Continent with a celestial artifact. As for other places, such as the Black Continent, the Serenity Continent, the Azure Continent, and the Divine Continent, they should also be treasures. Dishi Nanyang and the other few martial emperors were all geniuses who had crossed worlds from their sections. The treasures in their hands were temporarily given to them by their sections. He found that apart from Dishi Nanyang, who had a saint artifact space flag, the other three didn't have any saint artifacts. Seeing the saint artifacts, they were all excited. In other words, his current wealth was no longer that of a martial king, a martial grandmaster, or a martial emperor. Instead, it was a treasure that even martial honors could not possess. Right now, he could only use the Roaring Dragon Combat Halberd to unleash the power of a peerless emperor weapon. He didn't dare to take out the Heaven Extreme Tyrant Emperor Saber. After sorting out his emotions, although he only had a little understanding of the other forces, he felt much more relaxed. Even if he didn't search for treasures now, the treasures he had on him would be enough to look down on the entire divine martial continent. What he needed the most now was cultivation. The realm of a martial king was still too low. He had already decided that as long as he didn't encounter a martial emperor, he wouldn't use a weapon under normal circumstances. If he encountered a martial emperor, he would use the roaring dragon battle halberd. If it really didn't work, he would use ice, fire, 9 heavens and sword howl of the heavens and earth. Following that, Li Lingtian felt that he was wasting his time and opportunity cultivating here. Now that he had obtained the limitless Tao fruit, he needed to search for the 5 elements spirit fruit. Although no one had seen the 5 elements spirit fruit, with the existence of this legend, he had to try it. Little White led the way, and he followed closely behind. They flew along the precipice quickly, day by day. On this day, Li Lingtian came to a sparkling white lake. The lake water was completely sparkling white and the warrior's vision was blocked by the lake water. His eyes could only see 10 meters below the lake. Rumble. A loud explosion erupted into the sky. A figure rushed out of the lake, followed by another figure. After the 2 figures appeared, they looked at the lake in horror. Their bodies quickly exploded and left the place where they came out. Tianhao, Ming Qingfeng. Li Lingtian was shocked. Both of them were powerful 5th-level martial emperors. Even though they did not have a saint weapon, they were no weaker than Dishi Nanyang. One was the heavenly sun divine body, and the other was the fire dragon body. After they parted in the square last time, they did not expect to appear here. CC. At this moment, the entire 100-mile-wide lake had turned into a glacier. The 2 super experts who were 200 meters in the air had no chance to escape. They were trapped in the glacier. Seeing this, Li Lingtian waved his hand and the air around him returned to normal. There was no cold air within 10 meters of him and the cold air could not harm him. However, this sudden burst of glacial cold air shocked him. Although it couldn't compare to his immemorial ice crystal, it was much stronger than the profound Een ice crystal. He had never thought that this lake would have such a change. Moreover, there were traces of flames burning inside the glacier, but the glacier would not melt, and the flames were not extinguished. Icy Frost Flame. It's actually the legendary Icy Frost Flame. This is the frost ice flame formed by the heavens and earth. Li Lingtian cried out in surprise. This was the frost flame, a combination of ice and fire. It was a mutation of heaven and earth's fire and ice. His body was also the fusion of the 9 suns' sacred fire, the fire dragon's heart, and the immemorial ice crystal, forming the icy ice flame. Otherwise, he would not have been able to create the ice, fire, 9 heavens. Even if he had created it, he would not have been able to use it. The icy frost flame that was born from the heavens and earth could be considered a rare treasure. To others, it would be a terrifying devil. However, to him, it was a treasure, a true treasure. Brother Ling Tian, how about you help me next time? Although Tianhao was trapped in the air, he could still see Li Lingtian's presence. Furthermore, Li Lingtian did not show any fear in front of the glacier. Furthermore, the glacier had no intention of harming him. This left him shocked and confused. However, what was important now was his own life. The cold ice flames continued to corrode his body, and his cultivation was rapidly flowing away. Although he was a 5th-level martial emperor, if this continued, even if he did not die here, his genuine vitality would be exhausted and he would eventually become a useless person who could not cultivate. That's right. As long as Brother Ling Tian saves me, I won't be your enemy for the rest of my life. If Brother Ling Tian needs me in any way, feel free to call me. Ming Qingfeng was also anxious. He recognized the ice frost flame and was extremely afraid of it. He understood that Li Lingtian had disappeared once. The answer was that he must not be a simple person to be able to leave that place unscathed. Furthermore, Li Lingtian's abilities were extremely terrifying. He was still young now. If he reached the martial arts grandmaster and martial emperor realm in a few years, they would only be able to catch up to him. You two are too polite. Although I don't know you and might become your enemies, I don't want to fight with an opponent who doesn't have the strength to fight. Protect your bodies. I'll deal with this glacier, but you have to tell me what's going on with this glacier. Otherwise, I won't dare to take the risk. Li Lingtian muttered to himself for a moment before he spoke loudly. He already had a rival from the Dishi family, so there was no need for him to make another powerful enemy. Moreover, he was even more curious about the reason for the glacier and the lake. More importantly, he needed this ice flame. Good, young noble Ling Tian is indeed a genius. Although I look down on the martial artists of the Green Continent, young noble Ling Tian has allowed me to get to know you all over again. Tianhao was stunned. He did not expect this young man to agree so readily. No matter what tricks or schemes this youth had to admire this youth's boldness. To be honest, young Master Tianhao and I also entered this place by mistake. After we escaped last time, we entered a magical maze. The maze was filled with ice. Even with our strength and some magical treasures, we still wandered around for a long time before we finally found the exit. When we came out, we encountered something like this. There's an ice palace down there. If we don't find a way out, even a martial honor will disappear. Ming Qingfeng said loudly as he tried to transmit his voice to Li Lingtian. When they thought of the situation below, their expressions turned fearful. To be able to make two super experts so frightened, it must be extremely dangerous. Even when they faced the ancient devil, they were not so frightened. Be careful. Li Lingtian nodded. Even though he did not know if they were hiding, he knew that there was definitely something going on down there. He then greeted the two of them. He circulated all the genuine qi in his body and executed the heaven and earth conflagration. In the midst of the raging flames, there was even an ice-type aura. Instantly, the glacier disappeared quickly like the melting snow in the spring sun. In the blink of an eye, the 100-mile-wide glacier turned into nothingness. However, a mystical ball of ice flame appeared before Li Lingtian. It was burning with a chilling aura, and the chilling aura contained the destructive heat of the raging flames. As the glacier disappeared, the ice flames grew more and more powerful. He had condensed all the icy frost flames in the entire glacier. As long as the icy frost flames disappeared, the glacier would not affect the two martial emperors. When Tianhao and Qingfeng Ming saw how Li Lingtian dealt with the glacier so easily, they were shocked. The glacier that they had seen before was like a toy in front of this young man. One understand now. So young noble Ling Tian has heaven-defying talent with ice and fire martial souls. Tianhao was shocked beyond words when he saw the ball of icy flame in front of Li Lingtian and how Li Lingtian was refining it. Finally, he realized that the young man had dual martial souls of ice and fire. Qingfeng Ming and Tianhao quickly left the lake and came to 100 meters away from the shore to look at Li Lingtian. Yes. Li Lingtian ignored the two powerhouses as he condensed the ice flame in front of them. The ice flame that was originally 3 meters in size was finally condensed to the size of a fist. Even though it had become smaller, everyone knew that its power was more than 10,000 times stronger than before. If Li Lingtian were to unleash the icy frost flame, even a Supreme Realm expert would not dare to resist it. He didn't dare to refine the ice flame for the time being because he had just reached the second heaven of ice, fire, ninth heaven. He would only dare to refine the ice flame when he reached the peak of the second heaven of ice, fire, ninth heaven. He then collected the icy frost flame into a brocade box and cast several seals. The icy frost chi disappeared and was finally stored in the divine dragon ring. The two of you have also consumed a lot of your cultivation. It seems that you won't be accompanying me. With a smile on his face, Li Lingtian scanned the duo with his divine perception. He immediately sensed that although they were still Tier 5 martial emperors, their cultivation levels had fluctuated. If he had been any slower, their cultivation levels would have dropped. With that, he reached out his hand and grabbed at the two of them. Their expressions changed and they subconsciously wanted to block. However, they realized that the force unleashed by Li Lingtian was not enough to shake them at all. Furthermore, the cold qi in their bodies was being absorbed rapidly. They knew that if Li Lingtian really wanted to deal with them, he would not have done so. Even if he did, it would be a shocking attack. She felt awkward. She had misunderstood this young man. Soon, the chill in his body was absorbed by Li Lingtian and the danger of harm to his body was gone. Chapter 165, Chapter 165, Ice Dragon Palace. Chapter 165, Ice Dragon Palace. Could it be that young noble Ling Tian needs to go down? Ming Qingfeng circulated his cultivation technique and found that his cultivation had recovered. He was just a little weak. He would be able to reach his peak in a few days. He was grateful to the young man in front of him. If not for this young man, he would have perished in the glacier. Even if Li Lingtian rescued him, he would not have been able to recover his cultivation base so easily without absorbing the cold qi in his body. However, when he heard that Li Lingtian was about to go down, he was shocked and his eyes were filled with fear. He knew better than anyone else what was happening down there. If not for his cultivation base, strength, and heaven-defying treasures, the two of them would have died long ago. Of course it's true. Li Lingtian smiled. Others would not dare to go down but he did. After all, he had the Ice Soul Marshal's soul and a dual Ice and Fire Marshal's soul. If young noble Ling Tian is going down, you better be mentally prepared. Today, young noble Ling Tian saved my life, and I will remember this in my heart. If young noble Ling Tian needs anything in the future, just let me know. Tianhao said seriously. He then passed a green jade pendant to Li Lingtian before he flew away with a fist salute. Ming Qingfeng was the same as Tianhao. Both of them were super geniuses of the family. It would be embarrassing for them to rely on a young man to save them. In the blink of an eye, the two of them disappeared into the horizon. Seeing the two of them leave, it was as if they had seen ghosts chasing after them. Is the cold air below really that terrifying? Li Lingtian waited for the duo to leave before a serious expression appeared on his face. If even such a genius was afraid of him, he must not be simple. Moreover, he had just witnessed that a lake with a radius of 100 miles was instantly turned into a glacier by the cold air. Moreover, there was a natural cold ice flame inside. After pondering for a while, the true dragon body barrier was activated. His body turned into a meteor and quickly entered the lake. Although he had dissolved the glacier in the lake was still extremely cold. Even his Ice Soul Martial Spirit could feel the chill. While driving the cold air away, he used the flaming sacred body to block the cold air and quickly sank down. After an unknown period of time, Li Lingtian felt an endless pressure and pressure. It was the heaviness of water. Even a child in his previous life would understand this simple knowledge. After some rough calculations, he had descended to a depth of at least 5,000 meters. Beneath it, it was still a lustrous white color. There was no impurity at all, nor was there any spiritual energy. He was shocked. He saw a dark blue hole below. The hole was 10 meters wide. At the hole, there were dark blue and purple-white ice flames. His spiritual sense couldn't enter the cave, but he found that the lake water couldn't enter the cave either. The ice flame formed a barrier. Flaming sacred body. Ice Soul Martial Soul. Li Lingtian was shocked when he saw the intensity of the frost ice flame. The hole was 10 meters wide and the frost ice flame was 10 meters wide. This density was countless times denser than when he had first condensed it himself. If he kept the icy frost flame, just this icy frost flame alone would be enough to make a martial monarch powerhouse suffer. He did not dare to touch the icy frost flame now, afraid that he would suffer a backlash. Moreover, if he took the icy frost flame away, his plan to enter would be ruined. Circulating two extreme cultivation techniques, his body quickly shot toward the ice flame. Boom! His divine sense exploded. This ice flame not only corroded his body, but it also directly attacked his cultivation. What was even more terrifying was that this ice flame also had intense damage to his divine sense. 1 second felt like a day to Li Lingtian. In that 1 second, his mind was shaken, but he managed to pass through the icy blaze and enter the cave. What a terrifying ice flame! No wonder Ming Qingfeng and Tianhao are so afraid of this place. After entering the cave, his body landed 100 meters below the ground. He raised his head and looked at the cold ice flames in the sky. He was also shocked. Fortunately, he had the ice soul martial spirit and the flaming sacred body. Even so, he was almost injured. One could imagine how the two geniuses without the ice soul martial spirit and the flaming sacred body left this place. One could imagine how terrifying it was. However, after he came down, he truly understood the fear of the two geniuses. There was an ice palace below. Although it was slightly inferior to the glacier at the beginning, there was such a cold air everywhere. How could they withstand it? From what they said, they had entered this palace after leaving ancient Devil's Square. In other words, they had been here for 2 months. 2 months was an unimaginable amount of power. He had the ice soul martial spirit and the flaming sacred body. He also cultivated the heaven and earth reincarnation technique, and the true dragon body barrier was powerful and overbearing. Even so, he did not dare to stay for long. If it was an ordinary martial arts grandmaster, he would die in less than a day after coming down. While he was shocked, he made marks as he moved forward. He left marks on the places he had walked, so that he would not be trapped in the maze. This was the wisdom of a young man from the 21st century. He was already numb to this ice palace because there were ice sculptures everywhere. They were either white or dark blue ice flames. This is a real glacier. Li Lingtian muttered to himself as he circulated the true qi in his body to resist the corrosion of the cold air. To his ice soul martial spirit, the cold qi was not harmful. Instead, it was beneficial. Even if he didn't cultivate it on purpose, the ice genuine qi in his body would gradually increase and become purer. Yes. Yes. Li Lingtian had no idea how many frost flames he had condensed along the way. He would stay behind to store the frost flames in the divine dragon ring wherever they were. Inside the divine dragon ring, he was the master. His divine consciousness had carved out a separate space in the divine dragon ring. The icy frost flame could also confine qi inside, and it had no effect on other items and demon beasts. Li Lingtian did not know how many frost flame he had collected throughout the day. However, he noticed a problem. Even though he had marked the area, he was still circling around it. Moreover, many of his marks had disappeared because many places he had passed by had inexplicably disappeared. A martial artist's memory was very strong. As long as he took a look, he would remember it in his heart. Naturally, he would not forget the path he had walked. The only explanation was that they had entered a maze. Ice and fire ring, sacrifice. As the chill grew thicker, Li Lingtian felt more and more excited. Even though he was lost, the thicker the chill, the better it would be for his cultivation. Moreover, the denser the cold air was, the closer it was to a certain place, and it was a very important place. The truth was that after a day of walking, the ice-fire ring and several other defenses were no longer able to withstand the chill. Li Lingtian could only circulate his cultivation technique to withstand the chill and convert it into icy true qi. Ice Dragon Hall. As expected, this is the place. As Li Lingtian sprinted forward, he refined the cold qi and converted it into frost qi. 2 hours later, they arrived in front of an ice palace hall. The hall was majestic and gave off an invisible pressure. He had seen this kind of pressure before. It was from the dragon abyss in the divine dragon ring. However, the pressure here was still miles away from the dragon abyss. The ice dragon was also a dragon, but it was only a branch. Moreover, there were 999 true dragons in the divine dragon ring and the dragon energy of the 3,000 worlds. The pressure was naturally strong. The Ice Dragon Hall was a huge palace. It did not have a trace of life, but it emitted a mysterious dragon aura. This dragon aura carried endless cold air. It was almost the source of the cold air, which was also the strength of the ice dragon. The ice dragon was the same as the fire dragon, but their attributes were different. Li Lingtian stood at the entrance of the Ice Dragon Hall for a moment before he walked in step by step and scanned his surroundings with his divine perception. When he saw the thing in front of him, he could not help but be shocked. A crystal-clear ice dragon was like an ice sculpture. This was an ice sculpture of a divine dragon. 100 meters long and 10 meters tall, the mighty and domineering dragon emitted a dragon's might from its entire body. This dragon's might even had a cold aura. However, this ice dragon was only a skeleton now. It was actually just a skeleton. The dragon bones, dragon tendons, and dragon core were all intact. Even the dragon's skin was intact. This ice dragon had also passed away in meditation. It had not been killed. Looking at the ice dragon, it was as if the world had suddenly stopped. At that moment, Li Lingtian noticed the ice dragon's claw pressing down on an ice sculpture box. The ice sculpture box was about a foot in size, but he could not see what was inside at all. This was because his divine perception could not enter the box and his vision was blurry. Could it be the route to the ice palace? When Li Lingtian recalled that the ice palace was a maze, he felt a little displeased that he had entered it. Something that could make this ice dragon value it so much must not be simple. Then, he began to ponder whether he should touch this ice dragon. If he did, he could guarantee that something terrifying would happen. But if he didn't move, he wouldn't be able to leave the ice palace. Rise! True dragon body protection. Power of the earth dragon. After thinking for a full 10 minutes, he searched the entire ice dragon hall. However, there was nothing else in the ice dragon hall other than this ice dragon. Passages and exits were just wishful thinking. If he left this ice dragon hall, he might not be able to enter again. Since he was already here, it would be a waste not to move. At the thought of this, he circulated all the true chi in his body, grabbed the ice dragon's claws with both hands, and slowly lifted them up. However, what he did not expect was that this ice dragon looked like it only had one skeleton, but it was extremely heavy. With his current strength, even if it was 10,000 pounds, he could easily kick it away. However, there was nothing he could do against the ice dragon skeleton. It was as if the ice dragon was connected to this place. He had used up all his strength, but the ice dragon's skeleton only shook slightly. Phew! He sat on the ground weakly. He never thought that one day, he would face a skeleton weakly. He looked at the ice dragon skeleton seriously. Chapter 166, Chapter 166, 5 Elements Spirit Fruit. Chapter 166, 5 Elements Spirit Fruit. He looked at the ice dragon and quickly adjusted his breathing to recover the consumed true chi. After a full hour, his jinqi had recovered by more than half, and his mental strength had also recovered. However, it was difficult to recover the physical strength that he had consumed. I'm f***ing stupid. Li Lingtian thought of his pets. Little White, Jade-Eyed Beast, Multicolored Beast, Silver-Winged Flying Dragon, and Demon King Beast were all amazing creatures. All of them were extremely strong. He didn't use such a pet and actually wanted to do it himself. He was really stupid. After saying that, he used his divine sense and the multicolored beast and the jade-eyed beast appeared in the ice dragon hall. When the two demonic beasts came out, they were also shocked by this ice dragon. His eyes were filled with fear. However, when he realized that the ice dragon had no life force and was only a skeleton, he felt a little better. Between demon beasts, the concept of hierarchy was very strong. When faced with a demon beast of a higher level, they did not even have the consciousness to resist. The two demonic beasts looked at Li Lingtian, who was meditating, and quickly came to Li Lingtian's side, assuming a protective stance. This ice dragon has lost its vitality. You two lift it up, and I'll take out the box. When Li Lingtian saw the stance of the two demonic beasts, he felt an inexplicable warmth in his heart. Even demonic beasts would behave like this, but what about humans? Although demonic beasts were ferocious, this was only their nature. Moreover, they did not have much intelligence and were born this way. However, when they protected them, they could take out their own lives. As he spoke, he stood up and walked to the box. As long as the two demon beasts lifted the ice dragon a little, he would take the opportunity to take the box away. Roar! Roar! The two demonic beasts roared loudly as if they were answering Li Lingtian. The demonic aura in their bodies began to circulate as they lifted the ice dragon and lifted it up. Kacha! With a soft sound, the ice dragon was lifted up completely and the box loosened. Li Lingtian reached out with one hand and protected it with his true qi before grabbing the box and quickly retrieving it. However, he remembered that this ice dragon was a super demon beast. If it was used as a material, it would definitely be extremely magical. Since the ice dragon had already moved, he had to take the opportunity to take it away. Be careful. 1 foot 11 inches put him into the divine dragon ring. Li Lingtian said to the two demonic beasts. He activated the divine dragon ring with his divine mindfulness and waved his hand. A ray of light appeared and a powerful suction force was contained within the ray of light. The two demonic beasts carried the ice dragon and disappeared along the light. They disappeared from the ice dragon hall. When they reappeared, they had already entered the divine dragon ring. As long as he entered the divine dragon ring, he would be his master. With a flick of his soul consciousness, he moved the skeleton of the ice dragon into the space of the ice flame. After doing everything, he checked the situation in the divine dragon ring and found that there was no impact at all. Only then did he leave the divine dragon ring with a peace of mind. His gaze fell on the box. He wondered what was so important about it that the ice dragon would value it so much. Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron, activate. Open. He took out the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron and used it to protect himself. The Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron was neither an offensive treasure nor a defensive treasure. However, it had a mysterious effect on some mysterious things. This box was extremely mysterious. He wasn't worried about an attack, but he was worried about something harmful to his divine sense. After doing everything, he used his divine sense and shot a spell at the box. Clang! With a crisp sound, the box opened. There was no movement inside the box, as if it was empty. However, Li Lingtian could sense a trace of holy pressure lingering within the box. He carefully looked into the box. Inside the box was an exquisite 2-inch-long sword. The small sword was dark blue in color and emitted a faint cold ice flame. However, this small sword was sealed by something. On one side of the small sword was a piece of brocade cloth. The brocade cloth was folded together, and a mysterious holy majesty was emitted from this brocade cloth. Rise! He grabbed at the air with one hand, and a force slowly grabbed the brocade cloth. Then, he slowly took it out. The brocade was ordinary and there was nothing special about it. However, Li Lingtian did not dare to be careless. He closed the ice sculpture box and put it into the divine dragon ring. Then, he carefully unfolded the folded box. However, when he started to improve, he was stunned. It exuded a holy majesty, and endless golden light shot out in all directions. This golden light was gentle and did not feel uncomfortable at all. It was as if he had seen a fairyland that stood aloof from the world. The brocade cloth was unfolded. It was 3 feet long and 1 foot wide. A magical 8 trigrams was carved on it. The 8 trigrams occupied 2/3 of the brocade cloth. A holy radiance and majesty were emitted from the 8 trigrams. This brocade was no longer an ordinary brocade. Moreover, he discovered that this brocade cloth was not brocade cloth. He did not know if it was animal skin or paper. He did not know what it was made of. Divine Array Diagram. 3 small characters were carved on the lower right corner of the brocade cloth. Other than the 8 trigrams, there were only these 3 small characters left on the entire brocade cloth. Li Lingtian exclaimed when he saw the 3 small words. He had never heard of this divine array, but the name alone was enough to imagine how amazing it was. Moreover, the 8 trigrams on this divine array diagram was also an item from the Taoists in his previous life. It was extremely magical and had endless spells. He was completely shocked by this divine array diagram. After a full hour, he finally made a decision and dripped a drop of blood essence. Tisk! A sound rang out as the blood essence dripped onto the divine array diagram. Immediately, a shocking light burst out. The entire Ice Dragon Hall was filled with a magical light. As the light appeared, a pillar of light appeared at the center of the Ice Dragon Hall, where the Ice Dragon skeleton was originally located. Li Lingtian could not help but fly toward the pillar of light. In the light pillar, the divine array diagram emitted a faint halo. This halo and the light pillar merged into one, and he did not feel the slightest discomfort. Furthermore, when the blood essence came into contact with the divine array diagram, his entire body was connected to the divine array diagram. The divine array diagram was filled with countless golden words, but he could not understand them at all. The pillar of light disappeared not long after, and his entire body was taken away by the pillar of light. When he reappeared, his mouth was wide open and his eyes were filled with excitement. It was a valley with a radius of 1 mile. The valley was surrounded by a gray light, and it was unknown what was outside. Above it was an endless void. The spiritual energy was so dense that it was almost tangible. In the middle of the valley, there was a herbal garden, a spiritual herb garden. There were medicinal herbs and spiritual fruits that were over 10,000 years old everywhere. No one had ever come here before, and the medicinal herbs were also growing infinitely. However, his gaze was attracted by a 5-colored light. A 5-colored light with a radius of 10 meters appeared. Within the light was a 5-colored tree. Li Lingtian walked over step by step. His eyes were fixed on the 5-colored radiance because it was emitted by the trees inside. Metal element aura. Wood element aura. Water element aura. Fire element aura. Earth element aura. This is the 5 elements colorful tree, the 5 elements spiritual fruit. I've finally found you. As he approached the 5-colored radiance, Li Lingtian sensed the different auras of different species. His eyes were filled with shock as he finally spoke softly. This was the legendary 5 elements spirit fruit. He did not expect it to appear in this place. 5 elements spirit fruit. 5 elements complete peak. Each fruit takes 5 to 2,500 years to grow. 5, 25. One type of spiritual fruit was 25, so 5 types were 125. 125 5 elements spirit fruits. The 5 elements fused together and formed a great circle. One don't know how many tens of thousands of years it would take for the 5 elements spirit fruit to reach 125. This 5 elements spirit fruit is already far more than 10,000 years old. Li Lingtian muttered to himself as his expression turned numb. Then, he began to think of a way to pick the fruit, but no matter what, he rejected it. This was because the 5 element spirit fruit could not come into contact with the 5 element spirit chi. If it did not consume the 5 element spirit chi within an hour, it would disappear. At the thought of this, a bitter smile appeared on his face. He did not have a single jade weapon on him. He had no choice but to uproot them. He waved his hands and began to dig the ground. He began to dig up all the soil 10 meters away from the 5 element colorful tree. He suspended the 5 elements rainbow tree in the air and piled up the soil into a small hill. Finally, he carefully moved the soil into the divine dragon ring. In a corner of the divine dragon ring, he made a pit with the soil he had just used. Finally, he put the 5 element colorful tree into the divine dragon ring. The entire 5 element rainbow tree was moved into the divine dragon ring. After everything was done, Li Lingtian carefully picked a 5 element spirit fruit and placed it into a jade box. Then, he waited for the 5 element colorful tree to change. This 5 element spirit fruit was just in case. If those spirit fruits disappeared, he would at least have one left. Seconds passed, and 3 hours passed. Li Lingtian's divine consciousness had been locked onto the 5 element rainbow tree and 5 element spirit fruit. To his delight, the 5 element rainbow tree and 5 element spirit fruit did not wither or die. Instead, they grew even better. Now that the matter of the 5-element colorful tree and the 5-element spirit fruit had been resolved, he could start looting. This was a 1-mile-wide herb garden. 10,000-year-old herbs were everywhere. There were even 100,000-year-old herbs and some 10,000-year-old spirit fruits. It was his principle to uproot everything. All the soil and flowers were moved into the divine dragon ring. As the day passed, Li Lingtian looked at the entire valley with a smile on his face. Apart from the spiritual energy, even the ground and soil had been dug away. There were no more green flowers or plants. It was as if they had arrived in a desert. Divine array diagram, sacrifice. Since he had taken away the medicinal herbs and treasures here, he had to think of a way to leave. The one who brought him here was the divine array diagram. He had to find this divine array diagram. He took out the divine array diagram and began to sort out the connection between the divine array diagram and himself. His mind was connected to the divine array diagram. In other words, he was the master of this divine array diagram. However, he still did not understand this divine array diagram. He had to understand it now. At the very least, he had to know what use this divine array diagram had. A full month had passed. During this month, other than eating a few spiritual fruits to satisfy his hunger, he spent the rest of the time in excitement. The expression on his face alternated between excitement, confusion, and depression. Just like that, a month passed. Chapter 167, Chapter 167, Divine Array Diagram, 1. Chapter 167, Divine Array Diagram, 1. I see. Li Lingtian opened his eyes and the smile on his face gradually turned excited. After studying the divine array diagram for a month, he had gained some understanding. At least, he knew the use of this divine array diagram. The divine array diagram was an ancient array treasure. It was also an ancient array sacred scripture that recorded the method of setting up the most powerful array. This divine array diagram was a complete book of array formations and a cultivation technique. It was just that this cultivation method was specially for cultivating array Dao. It recorded the construction and cracking methods of countless magical, grand arrays. Moreover, this divine array diagram was also a treasure. It was the core of all kinds of arrays. As long as there was a divine array diagram, it would be twice the result with half the effort to crack any array. This young master will try. The excitement on Li Lingtian's face intensified. Although he did not know how to use the divine array diagram, he had learned a lot about it. With his wisdom and experience, as well as his understanding of the ancient sacred techniques, he had some control over this divine array. The most powerful ones inside were the spatial array formation, the time array formation, the 5 elements array formation, and the void array formation. What made him even more interested was an attack formation. This attack formation used all kinds of power bodies as the driving force. The original driving force was compressed to an extreme and then exploded. It was no different from the ice, fire, 9 heavens that he cultivated. It was the same principle. With that, he sent out his divine sense and a huge flying ship floated in the air. He then flew up and landed on the flying ship. He didn't stop on the ship, but entered the core of the ship, which was also the power source of the ship. No matter what kind of flying ship it was, it had its own power. Otherwise, how could it fly? Then, he began to study this huge array formation. His expression kept changing. In the end, he basically understood that this spaceship was just a spaceship. It's a pity that I've been searching for herbs and treasures and neglected the materials for refining and array formations. Otherwise, I would have decided to build the first aircraft carrier in the divine martial continent. Li Lingtian began to fantasize in his heart. With his divine array diagram, if he had enough time and found the materials, he would definitely be able to develop an aircraft carrier. Coupled with the attack array, it was definitely a killing weapon. With the power of the attack array, even a martial emperor or a martial supreme could be shot down. Yes. This fantasy had already formed in his heart. As long as he had the time, he would build a powerful space carrier. The aircraft carriers in his previous life were only capable of traveling on the ocean. He wanted to build a real aircraft carrier. He could replace the nuclear bomb from his previous life with an attack array. As for the power materials, he could use spirit stones and demon beast inner cores. Moreover, the demonic crystals were extremely powerful. At the thought of this, they were excited. Then, they put away the flying ship and put it into the divine dragon ring. He began to think of a way to leave this place. After understanding the God's array diagram, it was much easier to leave this place. In less than 2 days, he had mastered the way to leave this place. Divine array diagram, activate. He cast a spell on the divine array diagram and a ray of light appeared. This ray of light was the same as the last time he came in. Without hesitation, Li Lingtian entered the light and returned to the Ice Dragon Hall in an instant. Inside the Ice Dragon Hall, he had easily broken through the Ice Palace's maze with the help of the God Formation diagram and arrived at the entrance of the Ice Flame Cave. Frost Ice Flame, condense. Li Lingtian looked excitedly at the frost flame. He then cast a temporary imprisonment formation and began to condense the frost flame. This icy frost flame was several times stronger than the icy frost flame condensed by the glacier on the lake. This amount was thousands of times more than before. Seeing so many cold ice flames, how could they be unhappy? Without any hesitation, he began to condense it. With so many ice flames, he needed a lot of time. Otherwise, it would be wasted after leaving the Devil Canyon. Traces of icy frost flames were compressed into the divine dragon ring, and days passed. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed. There was only a little more than a month left before they left the heavenly Devil Canyon. Fortunately, the frost ice flames here were almost condensed. Yes. When the last bit of ice flame was condensed, Li Lingtian stored it into the divine dragon ring. Rumble. At once, there was a shocking explosion. The ice flame vanished and the ice palace's chilly air soared into the sky. Before Li Lingtian could react, he was sent flying by the blast of the chilly air. He flew into the air and left the lake. He quickly flew into the distance and faced the attack of the cold air. Even though he was running very quickly, his mind was still shaken. Li Lingtian did not have time to hesitate at this moment. He activated his divine consciousness and summoned Little White, allowing it to carry him and fly quickly. After flying for half an hour, he finally felt at ease and found a cave to recuperate. The injury was not serious, but if he ignored it, it would definitely affect his future cultivation. While he was recuperating in the flash, Little White requested to enter the divine dragon ring to cultivate. Li Lingtian was puzzled. All this time, he had been studying the divine array diagram and condensing the icy frost flame. He had not paid any attention to the demonic beasts. After his divine sense entered the divine dragon ring, he immediately discovered that the jade-eyed beast had reached level 4, level 9, the multicolored beast had reached level 4, level 7, and the silver-winged flying dragon was level 5, level 6. A few demon beasts had advanced. It seemed that his heavenly monster pill was really useful. No wonder Xiao Bai wanted to cultivate. Seeing that the other demon beasts had all advanced and that it was the only one who had not advanced, it definitely felt embarrassed. If you want to advance, you have to accept the cultivation of dragon energy. This way, you will definitely catch up to their realm in a short period of time. Li Lingtian took a glance at Little White and nodded. He then used his divine consciousness to store Little White into the divine dragon ring. However, this time, Li Lingtian sent Little White to the place with the densest dragon energy to cultivate. As for the dragon power of the 3,000 worlds, Little White couldn't go in with its current cultivation. It would be suicide if it went in. It was the same for him. Otherwise, he would have long entered to cultivate. After Little White entered the divine dragon ring, Li Lingtian began to recuperate. After 3 days of recuperation, his body's true qi was restored to its peak and his spirit was at its peak. Following that, Li Lingtian began to slay the demonic beasts alone. As long as he did not encounter any tier 5 demonic beasts, he would not call for Little White and the rest to help. Time passed quickly. On this day, after Li Lingtian killed the demonic beasts, he quickly approached the depths of the heavenly demon canyon. This was because if he wanted to leave the Devil Canyon, he had to accept the teleportation in the depths. After 2 days of running at full speed, they finally returned to the original place of the Demon King Beast. There were also many martial artists gathered there. However, Li Lingtian realized that there were only a little more than 100 people left from the original 600. Furthermore, the rest were martial arts grandmasters and the martial kings had all been killed. Young noble Ling Tian. Qing Fengming and Tianhao were shocked by Li Lingtian's appearance, but they quickly calmed down. They were certain that Li Lingtian had not entered the Ice Palace or he would not have returned. Young Master Tianhao, young Master Qing Feng. With a faint smile on his face, Li Lingtian walked forward step by step, completely ignoring the other grandmasters and martial emperors. Everyone knew how powerful these two were, but they did not expect Li Lingtian, a warrior king, to have the guts to talk to them. What they could not believe was that the two powerhouses were not displeased with Li Lingtian. On the contrary, they were extremely polite to him. Young noble Ling Tian is able to return safely. It's truly a joyous occasion. Young noble Ling Tian is extremely powerful. It's truly gratifying to see you return safely. The two of them congratulated him at the same time. Their tone was probing. If this youth really went in, it would be really terrifying. He, young Master Tianhao and young Master Qing Feng are too kind. I did go down once. The two of you are right. It is indeed extremely terrifying down there. Li Lingtian replied with a faint smile. He was shocked by the duo's strength. It was not easy for them to stay in that place for 2 months without the ice and fire martial souls. The conversation between the three of them shocked the others. They didn't know what the three of them were talking about. However, there must be something that they were unaware of since Li Lingtian was able to make the two powerhouses so polite. The three of them had become the focus of everyone here. Everyone looked at the three of them as they spoke, and the others did not dare to breathe loudly. Subsequently, Li Lingtian found a place with few people and began meditating, completely ignoring the gathering of powerhouses. Only Tianhao and Qing Fengming understood that Li Lingtian had his own reasons for doing so. He did not take the people here seriously at all. What puzzled them was that Dishi Nanyang hadn't shown up yet. Did something happen? Ling Yunxiao was possessed by the ancient devil and killed by them in the end. Only Tianhao, Ming Qing Feng, and Dishi Nanyang were left. And Dishi Nanyang was definitely the most powerful one this time. This was because Dishi Nanyang had the family's treasure, the Saint Artifact, the Space Banner. However, it had been taken away by Li Lingtian and had not been returned to him. As time passed, the aura in the sky began to change. A shocking demonic aura light appeared. All the martial artists hurriedly protected their bodies with protective barriers to prevent themselves from being corroded by the demonic aura. 2 minutes passed, and a shocking suction force appeared in the air. No one resisted, allowing the suction force to suck them in. Li Lingtian cast the true dragon body barrier. As long as there was no harm, he would not resist in case something went wrong. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In the air, more than 100 martial artists floated up and surged toward the dense demonic chi before finally disappearing. Li Lingtian's figure vanished into the demonic chi as well. The true dragon body barrier blocked the demonic chi's corrosion and he was quickly teleported away. After a full 10 seconds, he reappeared, and the demonic aura disappeared. The place where he appeared was a huge mountain range. This mountain range was extremely rich in demonic chi, but he did not know where he was if he came out rashly. Boom! At this moment, a shocking pressure pressed down fiercely. This pressure was even stronger than the Demon King Beast. Chapter 168, Chapter 168, Supreme Realm Avatar. Chapter 168, Supreme Realm Avatar. Last time, he was on guard, but this time, he had just come out and suffered such a destructive blow. He had no strength to resist at all. A destructive pressure directly bombarded over. His mind was greatly shaken, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His body was also sent flying into the distance before he fell heavily to the ground. At the same time, Li Lingtian activated his true dragon body barrier and quickly cast his thunderclap wings. However, the destructive pressure in the air came crashing down again just as he cast his thunderclap wings, leaving him no chance at all. Boom! Li Lingtian was completely stunned by yet another destructive pressure attack. It was obvious that this person was targeting him, but he could not understand why he was struck by the destructive force the moment he came out. Could it be that someone had divine foresight? But even if they did, they wouldn't be able to guess where he would appear. Die! A voice finally appeared in the air. The voice carried supreme dignity and anger, as if it had seen the enemy who had killed his father. After the voice, another destructive pressure came crashing down. Li Lingtian's mind was shattered and he was on the verge of dissipating. This was the first time he had encountered such a thing. Even when he was facing a martial grandmaster or a martial emperor, he had never been so passive. Now, he had no chance to fight back at all. Blazing flame, escape. Taking advantage of the pressure from the previous round, Li Lingtian forcefully endured the pressure. With a flick of his divine consciousness, a jade slip appeared in his hand. A stream of fire elemental genuine chi circulated and instantly crushed the jade slip. It turned into a raging flame and his entire body disappeared in an instant. When he reappeared, he was already 5 miles away. Tian he had given him the raging flames escape skill when he was on Hidden Dragon Island. He didn't expect that it would be useful now. After escaping 5 miles, he was also within the attack range of the experts. Thunderclap wings. Li Lingtian did not dare to stay behind. A powerhouse like him had a divine consciousness of at least 400 to 500 miles. Since he was within the range of his divine consciousness, he would not be able to escape its scanning no matter what. You want to run? You actually want to run away in front of me? In the sky, a shadow appeared. The shadow gradually turned corporeal, like a god of war overlooking the world. Li Lingtian had just unleashed his thunderclap wings when the shadow in the sky unleashed a shocking attack that shattered the entire space. His entire body was thrown into the air. Blood had already drenched his clothes in front of his chest. His snow-white clothes were bright red, and he looked extremely miserable. Peak of rank 9 Martial Emperor. This is the avatar of a martial honor. Li Lingtian looked at the elderly man in the sky. However, the elderly man was only half solid and his entire body was exuding a shocking aura. Li Lingtian could tell that the elder was not his real body but a super powerhouse's clone. He had relied on the clone to kill Li Lingtian. He now understood that in front of a true expert, he had no chance to fight back. The martial emperors and martial grandmasters from the past had confused his knowledge. They made him feel that the strength of martial grandmasters and martial emperors was not very strong. He could kill them with treasures. Only now did he realize that he had made a huge mistake. In this world, true experts would not show off outside. They were both martial emperors, but the real power of this mysterious man was not even as strong as Dishi Nanyang's. However, the techniques he used were beyond the level of a martial emperor. It turned out that he was not the only exception in this world. Other experts also had magical methods. The martial arts grandmasters and martial emperors that he had encountered were just some pushovers. He had only discovered the true experts now. It's actually just a martial king. The shadow in the sky was also shocked. He was also shocked by the young man he had attacked. He thought that the person he had locked onto was a rank 7 or 8 martial emperor, but he did not expect that it was just a martial king's disciple. I wonder why you ambushed me. Seeing that the other party had stopped attacking, Li Lingtian immediately threw a myriad spirit pill into his mouth. Even if it could not heal his injuries, it could temporarily stabilize them. At the same time, the jade-eyed beast and multicolored beast appeared in front of him, and the silver-winged flying dragon protected him. 5th rank demonic beasts, 4th rank demonic beasts. There are many demonic beasts, but they are just ants in front of me. Hand over the spatial banner, and I'll give you a quick death. A trace of shock appeared in the mysterious man's eyes. He did not expect that this young man would actually have 3 demonic beasts protecting him. Even a martial emperor would be extremely envious of having a tier 5 demonic beast as a combat partner. However, with his cultivation, he did not care about these at all. Instead, he wanted to quickly kill this youth and take back the spatial banner. This was the family treasure. Space Pennant, you are from Dishi family. Li Lingtian immediately understood. He had taken Dishi Nanyang's space banner away. When he was trying to block the aura on it, he had been discovered by the other party and his aura had been locked onto. He had crossed worlds to come here for this spatial banner. The moment he came out, as long as he locked onto his aura, he could be killed directly. No wonder he was attacked by destruction as soon as he came out. Since you want to kill me, then show me your true power. You are just a mere Supreme Realm clone. Your real power is not even as strong as Dishi Nanyang's. Li Lingtian smiled bitterly. He did not expect this man to be a powerhouse from the Dishi family. It seemed that the Dishi family was not simple. As for the clone, he should not fight for too long. As long as he exhausted his true essence, he could escape. With that said, his divine sense moved, and the Demon King Beast appeared in front of him. A shocking demonic chi soared into the sky. Devil King Beast, 5th rank, 9th grade Devil King Beast. The mysterious man was also shocked, and his face revealed a solemn expression. He had not expected this youth to actually have a 5th tier, 9th grade Devil King Beast. The might of a Devil King Beast was even stronger than a demonic beast. He did not dare to be careless when facing this 5th tier, level 9 Devil King Beast. Roar! Boom! After the Infernal King Beast came out, it glanced at Li Lingtian. With Li Lingtian's instruction, it knew that its opponent was the phantom in the sky. Instantly, a shocking demonic aura burst out. His 100-meter-tall body was like a mountain peak. The mysterious man didn't dare to hesitate. A shocking martial royal realm attack smashed down. In an instant, the 2 super experts started fighting. Even with his strength, he could not withstand the terrifying pressure in front of such a big battle. A few demon beasts were also guarding him, watching the battle in the sky with fear in their eyes. Although Li Lingtian did not join the battle, he was still shocked when he saw the battle between the Phantom and the Demon King Beast. The martial emperors in the past were all trash in front of this Phantom. Sky screen slash. The mysterious man also knew that he could not fight for too long, or else he would be in danger. With a casual wave of his hand, the spiritual energy in the sky condensed, and a shocking light shadow slashed down on the Demon King Beast. Roar! Although the Demon King Beast did not have much intelligence, it understood that this attack was a threat to it. With a violent roar, the shocking demonic chi became even stronger, and a black fist ruthlessly bombarded forward. Rumble! With a shocking explosion, the Demon King Beast screamed and retreated. Black blood flowed out of his pitch-black fist, and he looked extremely painful. Sword howl heaven and earth, die! Li Lingtian took advantage of this moment to summon the Tianyu sword with one hand and one body. As he circulated his true chi, another mouthful of blood trickled out from the corner of his mouth. His injuries were so severe that the meridians in his body were almost completely destroyed. However, if he did not make a move now, he would not even have a chance to do so. He would only die. A shocking sword intent burst out, and the pressure of the Tianyu sword wreaked havoc in the air. Saint artifact, there's actually a saint artifact. This venerable self has profited this time. Heaven and earth great palm. The Phantom was excited when he saw the Tianyu sword in Li Lingtian's hand. However, he was shocked when he sensed the sword intent in the air. If he was not careful, he might be injured by this attack. With a quick flip of his hand in the air, celestiality appeared. In an instant, a 100-meter-long giant palm was hurled toward Li Lingtian. The huge sword light of the Tianyu sword also slashed over. Instantly, the world trembled and space tore apart. Rumble. With a shocking explosion, a violent destructive power exploded, covering the area within a radius of 10 miles. At that moment, Li Lingtian activated his divine consciousness and retrieved the few demonic beasts and demon king beasts. With a flash of his thunderclap wings, he appeared 10 miles away. Heaven and Earth formation, hide. Li Lingtian had just appeared in the forest 5 kilometers away when a formation was cast. He vanished from the world as if he had never appeared. He vanished without a trace, not even a trace of his aura. Damn it! In the sky, the shadow became even weaker, as if it was about to be blown away in the blink of an eye. When it saw that the youth below had already disappeared 10 miles away, it immediately became furious. His divine sense continued to scan the area, and the pressure pressed down with a destructive force, wanting to crush the youth to death. As time passed, Li Lingtian's face turned ghastly pale as blood trickled from the corner of his mouth. Li Lingtian did not even dare to circulate his cultivation technique as his meridians had been destroyed beyond recognition. Originally, he had completely taken the attack from this phantom. In the end, he used the thunderclap wings and the sword howl of the heaven and earth, which worsened his injuries. He was shocked beyond words. This shadow was just a clone of a martial-honored realm. Although his cultivation was only at rank 9 Martial Emperor, his clone did not have the strength of a physical body. At most, he was at rank 5 Martial Emperor. However, his methods were beyond the methods of a Martial Emperor. The Azure Continent was indeed not something that the Azure Continent could compare to. The martial artists he had met were not true super geniuses. It seemed that Tianhao, Ming Qingfeng, and the rest didn't have a high status in the family. Even such a warrior would be a super genius in Green Continent, an existence that no one could compare to. He felt a wave of displeasure in his heart. The experts from the foreign forces were much stronger than those from Green Island. At the same time, he felt lucky that he had been reborn in this place. Otherwise, he would have died long ago. Rumble. It was at this moment that the world exploded. The shadow could not see Li Lingtian and was furious as it attacked the entire ground. As long as Li Lingtian did not leave this place, he would be crushed to death by the attack. Chapter 169, Chapter 169, Dragon Energy of the 3000 Worlds. Chapter 169, Dragon Energy of the 3000 Worlds. Li Lingtian's heaven and earth formation was instantly shattered and he was exposed to the phantom sight. The formation he had cast at the last minute was only a simple concealment formation. It did not have any defensive effect. Let's see where you can run to now. When the shadow saw that Li Lingtian had not left, his face was filled with excitement. At the same time, he was shocked that Li Lingtian was able to hide from him. You won't be able to hold on for long. If you were a real 9th level Martial Emperor or if I were here, I wouldn't stand a chance. But now, you can't either. Li Lingtian's face flashed with determination. He steeled his heart and slowly raised his hands. Forcefully circulating the last of his Jinqi, his meridians shattered inch by inch. The pain caused his expression to change drastically. However, he was different from before. It was either you die or I die. Ice, fire, 9 heavens, 2nd heaven, destruction. Li Lingtian endured the pain on his face as he circulated his ice and fire true qi with both hands. Finally, he put his hands together and a 3-colored beam of light shot out. The world was filled with the aura of destruction and death. Even the phantom in the sky was shocked. Major destruction taboo. Let's go. The shadow shouted coldly as he activated his true essence. A forbidden force was pressing down on Li Lingtian from above. The shadow grew weaker and its figure became thinner. If this attack was not enough to kill Li Lingtian, it would be the shadow that vanished. Rumble. The mountain range collapsed. In the sky, countless experts could feel this death and destruction, as well as the forbidden power of space. What a terrifying pressure. This is the attack of a martial monarch expert. It should be a supreme realm expert who has such an attack. Could it be that 2 martial honors are fighting? But in Green Continent, there is only one martial honored realm expert. How could there be two martial honored realm experts fighting? This attack is so familiar. I seem to have seen it somewhere before. There was a lot of discussion. At this time, it was the time for the Devil Canyon to leave the Devil Canyon. Naturally, there were countless sect experts to receive them. However, when they saw the battle in the Heavenly Devil Mountain, they did not dare to go in and watch. In such a battle, not to mention the experts killing them, even Eugene would directly kill them. After a long time, Demonic Mountain finally quieted down. The shocking demonic chi became even denser, and Demonic Mountain returned to its former appearance. Some experts also brought their disciples and left quickly. No matter who won the battle, they did not dare to watch or interfere. There was no longer a single human on Demonic Mountain. However, in the depths of a pitch-black canyon, a weak aura was moving with difficulty. The pitch-black was demonic chi. If a human came into contact with such dense demonic chi, they would be demonized immediately. The sound of blood spurting out was heard, followed by a painful voice. The sound and aura became weaker and weaker. As time passed, the aura and sound completely disappeared. At the end of the pitch-black demonic canyon was an independent paradise. There was no demonic chi at all. On the contrary, the spiritual chi here was dense, and the birds were singing and the flowers were fragrant. There were countless lush flowers and plants, a green lake, an ancient pavilion, and a simple cave abode. At this moment, a faint figure appeared. The figure was extremely weak. Li Lingtian spat out another mouthful of dirty blood. His face was ghastly pale and his clothes had turned into patches of red and white. The blood at the corner of his mouth had yet to dry up and continued to seep out. Finally, I've killed you. Li Lingtian's face cracked into a smile, but it looked extremely miserable as his meridians were all severed. He didn't care if there were people here, or if there were demons, beasts, and demonic beasts here. Because his current situation was already extremely bad. It was impossible for him to be more miserable than now. It turned out that the last attack of the Ice, Fire, Nine Heavens did not kill the illusory figure. It only offset the giant palm print, and a portion of the power directly smashed onto his body. After unleashing the Ice, Fire, Nine Heavens, the roaring dragon battle halberd in his hand turned into a shooting star, bringing with it a shocking dragon aura. Finally, it completely strangled the phantom. What he didn't understand was that this phantom actually brought a storage bag. Originally, according to the strength of the clone, it was impossible for it to bring a physical object, but this clone had brought a storage bag. He couldn't care less. He put away his treasures and bag of holding, then chose a direction and walked step by step. Rather than walking, it was better to crawl over. He threw a pill into his mouth. It was the Myriad Spirit Pill, a 4th-grade healing pill. However, this medicinal pill was completely useless. Instead, his injuries worsened. Then, he sat down cross-legged and released the Ice Soul Cold Chi to ensure that he would not fall asleep. He thought of many ways, but none of them could heal him. Because his meridians were all broken, his true chi could not circulate, and his cultivation technique could not be circulated. Don't tell me this young master is going to die here just like this. Li Lingtian's face revealed a look of despair. With his meridians severed, he would not be able to circulate his heaven-defying cultivation technique. He had the flaming sacred body and the dragon chi tempering his body, but now he was just a shell that could not circulate his cultivation. What's the use of powerful talent? What's the use of powerful treasures? Li Lingtian looked at his own body with despair written all over his face. He had always thought that his strength was enough to compete with a martial royal realm powerhouse, but he was wrong. With his true strength, he could only fight against experts below the 5th level of the martial arts grandmaster realm. As for killing a 9th level martial arts grandmaster and a martial emperor, it was just a treasure and a heaven-defying skill. Moreover, he did not encounter those top-notch experts. This time, he encountered a martial emperor who suppressed him. If it were not for all kinds of treasures and skills, he would have died long ago. Time passed day by day. Li Lingtian's face was numb. He had tried every possible way but he could not channel his energy to restore his meridians. If his meridians were not connected, he would not be able to circulate his cultivation techniques and Jinqi. Healing was just empty talk. Only a few demon beasts were guarding him. They looked at the youth in front of them and did not move at all. They did not dare to make a sound. Try the dragon energy of the 3,000 worlds. After an unknown number of days, Little White sent a message to Li Lingtian's mind. Since it had a friendly contract with Li Lingtian, it would not let Li Lingtian die like this. If one die, you can leave. Li Lingtian muttered to himself. He had also thought of the dragon energy in the 3,000 worlds but it was too terrifying for a martial king to touch. Now that Little White had said it, he had no other choice. He couldn't use his martial arts or heal himself. Only his divine sense could be used. In other words, he could enter the divine dragon ring. After entering the divine dragon ring, his life and death would be in his hands. After giving his instructions, the demonic beasts remained silent. Li Lingtian closed his eyes slightly and activated the divine dragon ring with his divine consciousness before entering it alone. Entering the world of the dragon again, the dragon abyss appeared in front of him. Step by step, he walked toward the back of the dragon abyss. That place was where the dragon energy of the 3,000 worlds was located. The dragon chi of 3,000 worlds was equivalent to 3,000 worlds. One could imagine how powerful the dragon race was. Although the 3,000 sectors was a little exaggerated, there was indeed a lot of dragon energy. Without the 3,000 sectors, it would not be too bad. Every world had different dragon energy. The density of dragon energy in every world was also different. Open. Along the way, they passed by the dragon abyss and hundreds of dragons. He arrived at the place where the golden dragon phantom used dragon energy to refine him. He gradually entered a huge array altar. If it was in the past, he would definitely not be able to crack this array altar. However, he controlled the divine array diagram and was the owner of the divine dragon ring. He easily opened the array altar and a shocking dragon energy rushed over. His body was also quickly pulled toward the array altar, and he disappeared from it. Ah! Arg! A scream that resounded through the world sounded. He had experienced countless tempering and pain, but facing the dragon chi of the first world, he almost fainted. It was definitely a blessing for him to faint in his current condition, but he couldn't. He was enjoying the torture and pain. The dragon energy tempered his body once again, and the meridians in his body were also tempered inch by inch. After an unknown period of time, the expression on his face became terrifying, but the meridians in his body were slowly recovering. What he did not realize was that there were actually 3 mysterious blood essences circulating in his body. Moreover, they were constantly devouring the dragon energy and taking it for themselves. The 3 drops of blood essence also quickly met and fused together, turning into a mysterious and holy halo. The halo was nourished by the dragon energy and immediately became even stronger. His body was also rapidly recovering under the halo. This was something he did not know. 1 day passed, then 2 days. 1 month passed, then 2 months. Li Lingtian was completely immersed in the world of dragon energy. The pain on his face had disappeared and was replaced by a look of enjoyment. Under the tempering of the dragon energy, his meridians had been completely repaired. The mysterious and holy light had also repaired his body, and the dragon energy in his body had become even stronger. True dragon body protection, power of the flying dragon. Li Lingtian opened his eyes and his gaze shone brightly. With a soft cry, he activated the true dragon body barrier. Instantly, a shocking dragon energy circulated in his body and headed straight for the second layer of the true dragon body barrier. His entire body carried a trace of dragon's might, the majesty of a dragon. Rank 8 Martial King, break. The second layer of the true dragon body barrier had been successfully broken through. His realm had yet to stabilize, and the cultivation in his body had also loosened. He was rapidly advancing from a rank 8 Martial King to a rank 9 Martial King. Bam! A slight crisp sound came from his body, and only he could hear it. Tier 9 Martial King, charge. After reaching rank 9 Martial King, the genuine chi in his body continued to soar until he finally reached the peak of rank 9 Martial King. He knew that if he did not break through, he would explode from the violent true energy. The huge amount of true chi started to spin rapidly, and the true chi in his body also quickly sublimated. The true chi that was originally almost tangible became even denser, and this true chi was still changing. He circulated the heaven and earth reincarnation technique, circulating his true chi that was almost tangible, and his entire person entered a state of emptiness. In his body, the Jinchi gradually entered his dantian. However, the Jinchi did not stop. Instead, it formed a thumb-sized bead. Chapter 170, Breaking Through to Grandmaster. Chapter 170, Breaking Through to Grandmaster. Condensing chi into a core was the unique inner core of a martial arts grandmaster. It was also the legendary golden elixir. This golden elixir represented a powerful ancient martial art practitioner and was also the source of strength. The golden core slowly rotated. Every time it rotated, the surrounding true chi would be swept away, and the golden core would become bigger. After an unknown period of time, the golden core stopped spinning and all the true chi disappeared. At that moment, the golden core began to spin frantically. Li Lingtian could only use the heaven and earth reincarnation to activate the golden core. Suddenly, a shocking aura erupted from his body. Traces of dragon energy turned into true essence and flowed in his body. His body had returned to normal, but his physique was now countless times stronger than before. His genuine chi had also turned into genuine vitality. A 5-colored golden core was spinning in his dantian. The faint genuine vitality was like a lake supporting the rotation of the golden core. The rotation of the golden core increased his true essence by a little, and his strength increased by a little. Although the increase in cultivation could be ignored, it was an obvious increase. The changes in his body made him sublimate. The true dragon body protection had been upgraded to the second layer. The difference between the strength of the flying dragon and the earth dragon was 100,000 miles. More importantly, when the wyvern power was used, there were 2 wyverns protecting him. When he attacked, there were also 2 wyverns. His current defense and physique were more than 10 times stronger than before. He could even withstand a full-powered attack from a rank 5 martial arts grandmaster. This was the power of the true dragon body barrier. However, he still valued the golden core in his body. This golden core was a human's energy body, just like the inner core of a demon beast. If the inner core was gone, the demon beast would have no cultivation. It was the same for the golden core of a human martial arts grandmaster. Without the golden core, their cultivation would completely disappear. In his dantian, the thumb-sized golden core was spinning, and the true essence below it was gently rippling like a lake. He didn't have much true essence now, but it was dozens of times stronger than when his true chi was at its peak. Grandmaster. I've finally reached Grandmaster. 200 years as a martial king, 300 years as a martial grandmaster, and 300 years of life. It was unimaginable in my previous life. Li Lingtian muttered to himself. When he became a warrior king, he was excited for a while because not only did his strength improve, but his lifespan had also doubled. As long as he lived a normal life and did not suffer from external attacks, 200 years was not a problem. Now that he had reached the martial ancestor realm, his strength had increased countless times, and his lifespan had reached 300 years. His strength had increased, his physique had increased, his entire person had sublimated, and his lifespan had increased. He was now a true martial arts grandmaster. The martial arts grandmasters that they looked up to in the past had now entered this rank. Following that, Li Lingtian quickly absorbed the dragon energy to stabilize the second layer of the true dragon body barrier. With his current cultivation realm, he could only cultivate outside. In the 3,000 worlds of the divine dragon ring, Li Lingtian opened his eyes again after an unknown period of time. His eyes were filled with confidence. It's time to leave. I'm sorry, Li Lingtian said calmly before he vanished in a flash. When he reappeared, he was already on the array altar behind the dragon abyss. Little White looked at Li Lingtian in a daze before sending a consciousness into Li Lingtian's mind. The consciousness was calm and emotionless, but Li Lingtian was surprised to see Little White's eyes. Yes, I have already broken through. I will rest here for a period of time. You guys should rest well too. After we leave, this world will no longer be quiet. Li Lingtian spoke calmly. This time, he had almost died. His entire state of mind had been elevated from a teenager's to an adult's. After going through this great tribulation and breaking through, it made him mature a lot. Although his tone was calm, it was not difficult for the few demon beasts to tell that if they went out, the world would tremble. Li Lingtian did not bother with the demonic beasts as he continued to survey the place. There was a green lake, a pavilion, and a cave abode. This place was a paradise. After coming here for so long, he still did not understand this place at all. After receiving Li Lingtian's celestial demon pill, the few demonic beasts began their cultivation as Li Lingtian walked toward the cave abode. The stone door of the cave abode opened with a light push. It was silent inside. Based on his experience, it should have been many years since anyone had lived here. However, after this great calamity, he had become more stable. He activated the true dragon body barrier and walked in carefully. However, there was no palace like he had imagined in this cave abode. There were only 3 stone rooms, one of which was a cultivation room, one was a bedroom, and one was a living room. The area was very small, but it was very exquisite. Although it was a cultivator's cultivation cave, this cave was no different from the girl's boudoir. There was no sound or life in the cave. You'll come empty-handed, and you'll leave empty-handed. In this world, meeting each other is fated. A graceful dance in the sky, all things in the world are illusory, moving flowers and trees to shock the gods. Li Lingtian entered the bedroom and activated a restriction. After a few words, the entire room was emptied. At that moment, a pale golden paper appeared in the air and slowly swayed down. Li Lingtian could not help but grab it with one hand and the paper fell into his hand. There was not a single word on the page. It was completely blank. However, Li Lingtian was no longer surprised by this. This was because some of the existences in this world were sealed inside with some kind of array or restriction. His divine sense moved and entered the page. Immediately, information was transmitted into his mind. Those who comprehend transposition of flowers and trees are fated. Even if you can't comprehend transposition of flowers and trees, please find someone who can cultivate it. The same sentence was followed by the words of the cultivation technique. Li Lingtian was completely immersed in the page and was completely captivated by the cultivation method inside. This was a cultivation technique and also a skill. After cultivating it, one could transfer the attack to another place. Moreover, this cultivation technique could also be used by both of them. It was also an array formation. If 2 people cultivated such a cultivation technique, they could completely use their cultivation and combine them into one to reach a shocking power. Shifting flowers into trees. F***ck, wasn't there such a thing as shifting flowers into trees on television in my previous life? Li Lingtian withdrew his divine consciousness from the page with a strange expression. If it was in the past, he would never believe in such things. However, in this world, after using shocking strength, he naturally believed that these cultivation techniques were definitely not a bluff. After putting away the paper, Li Lingtian searched the cave abode but found nothing. Not even a single plant was left behind. In the end, he could only leave the cave abode and go to the pavilion by the lake to cultivate. He was now a first-level martial arts grandmaster, and his cultivation was extremely powerful. His true chi had turned into true essence, and its power was unparalleled. Moreover, the roaring dragon combat halberd could also unleash the power of a low-grade celestial weapon, and so could the Tianyu sword. It could unleash the power of a low-grade celestial weapon. As for the Heaven Extreme Tyrant Emperor Saber, he still did not dare to use it, nor did he dare to touch it. He could also unleash a few Earth-ranked skills to the extreme, and he was only a step away from the transcendent state. This was the advantage of the realm. If he used the Ice Vitality Divine Fist to freeze 1,000 miles, the area within 2 miles would be turned into a glacier. Moreover, this glacier also carried traces of cold ice flames. This was also the power brought about by his condensed cold ice flames. Ice River Split. After cultivating for a period of time, his realm had stabilized. He had already mastered many skills and treasures. However, when he thought of the icy frost flame, he realized that he did not dare to touch it easily with his current strength. After giving up, he found the small sword in the ice sculpture box. After refining it, his divine sense connected with this small sword. It was actually a powerful ice-type treasure. Ice River Split. This super treasure was actually a peerless heaven weapon, and it was a heaven weapon that could be upgraded. It contained a unique skill, Frost Descent from the Sky. When it was used, frost would fall from the sky within 100 miles, and snow flowers would fall from the sky in June. If he could control the Ice River Crack and the Frost Descent, he could imprison anyone below the martial arts Grandmaster realm and kill anyone below the martial king realm within 100 miles. Refine it. Since he was going to use this treasure, he had to refine it so that it could enter his dantian and be nourished by true essence. No matter what treasure it was easy to refine it, but it was very difficult to truly control it. This was because it required a long period of nourishment and connection, allowing the master and weapon to cooperate more tacitly. As the days passed, Li Lingtian roughly calculated that he had been in this place for half a year. In half a year's time, he had also reached the peak of martial arts Grandmaster rank 1 and was not far from perfection. All kinds of skills had also been cultivated to a peak, and he had further control over his treasures. What made him change the most was his aura, as well as his entire temperament. Now, he was no longer a youth, but an 18-year-old youth. A calm super expert, every movement of his carried the power of heaven and earth. The few of you have improved quite a bit. Li Lingtian looked at Little White and the other demonic beasts. Little White had cultivated in the 3000 worlds dragon energy for half a year and had already reached tier 4 level 8. The Jade-eyed beast was also at the peak of the 4th tier, level 9, and was not far from the 5th tier. The multicolored beast's cultivation was the lowest, but it was still at the 4th tier, level 8. The silver-winged flying dragon was the most powerful, at the peak of the 5th step, 7th rank. With their help, his strength had increased by a lot. Moreover, he had a terrifying demon king beast. You've already reached the true 6th step. When I refine the demon transformation pill, you'll be able to quickly increase your strength. Li Lingtian looked at the infernal king beast. Although it did not have much intelligence, it was respectful to Li Lingtian. Even if Li Lingtian wanted it to die, it would not hesitate. Some time ago, Li Lingtian saw that the demon king beast was hovering between the peak of tier 5, level 9, and tier 6. Hence, he gave the demonized pill to the demon king beast. Chapter 171, Chapter 171, Li Fire Xianyang Formation. Chapter 171, Li Fire Xianyang Formation. The demonized pill itself was a medicinal pill of the devil race. When it was used by the devil king beast, it actually broke through its realm. As such, the infernal king beast was even more respectful toward Li Lingtian. We can leave now. Li Lingtian looked up at the sky as he spoke calmly. After he said that, the sky was filled with lightning and the world turned dark as if it was the end of the world. It was as if the heavens knew that this green island was destined to never be quiet again. In fact, Eastern Spirit Azure continent had long been restless. Tianjin Empire and South Tomb Empire, two super empires, had tens of millions of troops and had successively broken through the 13 heavenly dragon cities. Some experts from the Northern Nether Empire also shifted their attention to the Dragon Empire. The Dragon Empire was in danger. The four great sects had also sent out countless experts to resist the attacks of the two empires. In Sky Dragon Empire's Sky Cloud sect, the Heavenly Dragon Empire's #1 genius, Li Lingtian, did not appear after entering the Heavenly Devil Canyon. Moreover, he had received countless news. Half a year ago, the Heavenly Devil Canyon opened again. When the experts who entered the Heavenly Devil Canyon left, a shocking battle occurred on the Heavenly Devil Mountain. No one knew which experts were fighting because no one dared to go and watch the battle. Even the martial monarch experts were shocked to death when faced with such a battle. Countless people in Sky Cloud sect suspected that someone had plotted against Li Lingtian during the battle on Demonic Mountain. Since there had been no news of Li Lingtian for half a year, he must have been plotted against. Although Li Lingtian was only a Tier 7 warrior king when he entered the Heavenly Devil Canyon, everyone had faith in his abilities. However, the battle that took place during that time was beyond the level of a martial arts grandmaster or martial emperor. Li Lingtian must have been assassinated. In Sky Cloud sect, countless disciples and powerhouses lamented Li Lingtian's death. On this day, the Sky Cloud sect erupted with a shocking drumbeat. This drumbeat was extremely urgent. All the disciples of the sect rushed to the Sky Cloud Square. What happened? What happened? This is the bell of the sect. It will only appear when the sect is destroyed. Could it be that someone has made a move against Sky Cloud sect? Even the other 3 sects in Sky Dragon Empire don't have the guts to do so. Hurry up. When the bell rings, we have to get to the Heavenly Cloud Square. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. All of a sudden, the entire Sky Cloud sect seemed to have turned upside down. Countless disciples flew towards Sky Cloud sect, and every disciple's face was filled with shock. Within 20 seconds, the entire Heavenly Cloud Square was packed with people. Tens of thousands of disciples had gathered here. All the Martial King elders are here. Did something really happen? The Grand Elders of the Martial Arts Grandmaster sect are all here. Something must have happened. The 11 Martial Arts sect elders have arrived. The sect master is here too. After countless disciples arrived, all the Martial King Realm elders stood on the steps. The 11 Martial Arts Grandmaster Realm experts also had solemn expressions on their faces. Boom! At this moment, a ripple appeared in the sky. A middle-aged man appeared in the air and landed on the steps. This time, we received concrete news that the 4 great sects of the Northern Nether Empire have joined forces to come to my Sky Cloud sect. Therefore, this is a critical moment for our Sky Cloud sect. Ling Tianfeng said loudly. His face was also solemn. He had never been so solemn before. Each of the 4 great sects of the Northern Nether Empire was several times stronger than Sky Cloud sect. The combined strength of the 4 great sects was obvious. What is it? The 4 great sects of the Northern Nether Empire have joined forces to attack our Sky Cloud sect. Tianjin Empire and the Southern Mountain Empire attacked the Heavenly Dragon, and the Northern Nether Empire attacked our Heavenly Cloud. Is Green Island really in chaos? The 4 sects have joined forces. Martial arts grandmasters and martial emperors are not. Aren't the Green Jade sect, the Misty Pavilion, and the Vast sect going to support our Sky Cloud sect? They can't do anything about it. Moreover, they are still resisting the experts of Tianjin Empire and South Mountain Empire. There was a commotion below. The 4 sects had joined forces to attack Sky Cloud sect. What ability did Sky Cloud sect have to resist? As a disciple of Sky Cloud sect, even if one die, I must kill all the enemies. From now on, all Sky Cloud sect disciples are not allowed to leave Sky Cloud sect. The war has begun. Disciples below warrior spirit rank are not allowed to participate in the war. Ling Tianfeng said loudly. Warrior disciples did not have the strength to fight back at all. Only powerhouses who were warrior spirits and above could withstand these powerful warriors. Since they had traveled tens of thousands of miles, they should be experts above the Martial King realm. Everyone in Sky Cloud sect was in a state of panic. Martial King realm experts were responsible for patrolling, while martial arts grandmasters and martial emperors stopped cultivating and guarded Sky Cloud sect's grand array. The sect protection formation was activated, and an invisible formation protected the entire Sky Cloud sect in the sky. On this day, Li Lingtian arrived at Sky Cloud sect and was stunned when he saw the shocking array. What happened? This is Sky Cloud sect's sect protection formation. Could it be that a powerful enemy has come? Li Lingtian was shocked as he looked at the array before him. The power of this array could be considered a heaven-tier existence. Li Fire Xianyang formation. Li Lingtian recognized the array easily. He did not expect Sky Cloud sect to have such an array. The activation of this array required thousands of spirit stones every second. This was a devil that ate spirit stones. This young master will give you a transformation, Li Lingtian said calmly. With a flash, he quietly arrived at a hidden spot and cast a heaven and earth formation before he vanished. With a flick of his consciousness, the divine array diagram appeared in front of him. He closed his eyes slightly and began to think of a way to strengthen the Li Fire Xianyang array. After a moment, he opened his eyes and waved his hands continuously. He cast spells one after another and a strange array plate appeared in front of him. This array plate was only an illusion. Heaven and earth as one. After doing everything, he waved his hand and the illusory disk array in front of him flew towards the Li Fire Mystic Yang formation in the sky. In an instant, the disk array disappeared. The Li Fire Xianyang formation did not move at all. At the same time, his body entered the array formation. The thunderclap wings flapped, and when he reappeared, he was already back on the sky peak. He looked at his territory. He hadn't been back for more than a year, but now he felt a wave of warmth, as if he had returned home. What happened? In the Divine Cloud Palace, Great Ancestor Ling Haoming was shocked. As a fourth-level martial emperor, his strength had reached an extreme. In Sky Dragon Empire, they were known as the 7 super experts. However, at this moment, their expressions were uncertain. Reporting to Great Ancestor, the sect's protective array shook just now. The spirit stones used by the core of the array guarded by me are only 1/10 of what they were before. However, but... Su Tianjiao stuttered. He was a Tier 6 martial arts grandmaster, and he was completely stunned by such a thing. But what? Ling Haoming asked hurriedly. His aura burst out, and all the warriors of the Divine Cloud Palace were terrified. 47 martial kings and 11 martial arts grandmasters were gathered in the Divine Cloud Palace. Other than 5 who were guarding the core of the array, the rest were all here. The power of the Li Fire Xianyang formation has not only not weakened, it has instead become several times stronger. Su Tianjiao saw the imposing manner of the Great Ancestor and quickly told him what he had discovered. He couldn't believe it himself. What? Is there such a thing? This is the Li Fire Xianyang formation. It's a heaven-grade formation. It's Sky Cloud sect protection formation. Who moved the formation? Could it be that someone changed the formation? Impossible. The Li Fire Xianyang array is a heaven-grade array. Only a spiritual array master can change it. However, this array has already been activated. Even a spiritual array master can't change it. Even if it could be changed, it would cause a huge commotion. Only the legendary Holy Array Master could change this array without anyone noticing. However, Holy Array Masters do not exist in the Divine Martial Continent. Instantly, all the warriors in the hall were in an uproar, and all of them were discussing animatedly. After that, Ling Haoming's body flashed and he quickly left the Divine Cloud Palace. The other experts also flew away. Finally, they arrived at the highest peak of Sky Cloud sect. When they saw the array formation in the sky, their expressions changed drastically. This was because this array was indeed more than 10 times stronger. Looking at the speed at which the array core consumed spirit stones, it was only 1/10 of the previous one. Could it really be a Holy Array Master? What's going on? With this formation, we can safely survive this calamity. Looking at the strength of the array formation in the sky, all the martial artists exclaimed endlessly. This kind of thing was too strange. Not only did they not feel at ease, but they also increased their patrols. Sigh, if that kid was still here, Sky Cloud sect would have a better chance of surviving. Great Ancestor Ling Mingho sighed. Although he didn't say his name, the martial artists here all knew who Great Ancestor was talking about. The #1 genius on the Sons of Heaven roll, a martial king, had killed a tier 4 martial emperor, Baichen Wuyo. With the thunderclap wings and the sky sword, a genius like him could easily defeat a rank 5 martial emperor after reaching rank 7 martial king realm. On the Heavenly Universe peak, Tang Zimeng would sit at the entrance of the Heavenly Universe pavilion every time she was not cultivating. It had become a habit in the past year. She worked from the afternoon until late at night. The other two maids, Xiao Xiao and Qing Ping, as well as Lu Min, had also become accustomed to it. Big brother Ling Tian, Meng Meng knows that you're still alive. You'll definitely come back safely. Half a year ago, she was still filled with endless anticipation. However, half a year ago, when she received news of the battle at Omen Mountain, she was gradually panicking when Li Lingtian did not show up. She did not know what would happen to her if Li Lingtian was no longer around. Thinking back to the past, Li Lingtian's carefree appearance and his heaven-defying aptitude, her heart warmed. However, there was no news of the person she was concerned about. More than a year had passed. The original little beauty was now an 18-year-old peerless beauty. Her fair little hand held her chin as she looked at the small path of Tianyu Peak. Her sparkling tears rolled down uncontrollably, and her tear-stained appearance was extremely lovable. Chapter 172, Chapter 172, Sky Cloud Sex Crisis. Chapter 172, Sky Cloud Sex Crisis. However, a white-robed figure appeared in his line of sight. The figure was getting closer and closer. The figure was still the same figure from more than a year ago, but he was much taller. More than a year ago, he was a young man, but now, he was a handsome and elegant young man. The elegant figure merged with the world, forming a unique scenery. Big brother Ling Tian. Tang Zimeng was shocked. She looked at the figure and tears kept falling from her face, but she did not stand up. Because in her heart, this figure was just an illusion. She missed him too much, so she had an illusion. However, this figure was getting closer and closer, and it was becoming more and more real. The young man had a confident smile on his face, and this smile was more stable. Tang Zimeng rubbed her eyes and stood up involuntarily. Even if this was an illusion, she was satisfied to be able to see him. Meng Meng. Li Lingtian's heart ached as he looked at the peerless girl before him. What else could he not be satisfied with to have such a beauty who would always care about him? This was a kind of wait, a long wait and a long wait without hope. She called out gently, but her heart ached. She could no longer speak and tightly hugged the girl in her arms. Wow! Tang Zimeng cried when she felt the real feeling. For the past 6 months, she had been suppressing herself and not letting herself cry. But now, she couldn't hold it in anymore. This feeling of reality made her feel that it wasn't an illusion. Feeling the sobbing of the person in his arms, Li Lingtian gently caressed her with his hands, silently comforting her. After more than 10 minutes, Tang Zimeng gently lifted her head and looked at Li Lingtian seriously. Big brother Ling Tian, you're really back. Mengmeng's so scared, afraid that you won't be able to come back. Tang Zimeng said softly. She was worried that she would turn into an illusion if she was not careful. Yes, I'm back. Li Lingtian reached out and gently caressed her delicate and perfect face. He wiped away the glistening tears as he felt guilty for making this girl worry. Some time ago, there were rumors that you died on Demonic Mountain. During the battle on Demonic Mountain, they said that you were assassinated, but Meng Meng didn't believe it. She believed that Big Brother Ling Tian would come back safely, so she waited here for Big Brother Ling Tian. Tang Zimeng said softly. She could finally relax when she thought of the worry she had for more than a year and the despair she had for half a year. No matter what the rumors were, it was fine as long as her big brother Ling Tian returned safely. Come, let's go back. Li Lingtian said gently as he gently carried Tang Zimeng towards the Tianyu pavilion. When they arrived at the Tianyu pavilion, the three maids watched him quietly. As they saw Li Lingtian return, they were excited but did not want to disturb Li Lingtian and Tang Zimeng. "Welcome back, young master." When the three maids saw that Li Lingtian had returned safely, they were extremely excited and greeted him politely. Following that, Li Lingtian and the others sat down in the courtyard of the Tianyu pavilion. Four girls surrounded him and asked him to tell them what had happened in the past 6 months. "Indeed. Half a year ago, when I left the Devil Canyon, one was attacked by a destructive pressure as soon as I came out. One didn't even have the chance to see the direction clearly. The continuous destructive attacks didn't have the slightest ability to fight back. It was not until the last strike that the phantom was finally killed. However, one was also seriously injured by the destruction and my meridians were broken." Li Lingtian slowly recounted the battle on Demonic Mountain. The four men's faces changed drastically as they listened. They did not expect that the shocking battle on Demonic Mountain was really Li Lingtian. Moreover, it was a Supreme's avatar. In the end, Li Lingtian was almost destroyed. Fortunately, they had returned safely. When they thought of the Wu Zun's clone and the attack that Li Lingtian was facing, the four of them were immersed in the scene. Their expressions changed as Li Lingtian was attacked. So the battle on Demonic Mountain was really Big Brother Lingtian. I didn't expect that he was a powerful warrior from the Dishi family of the Azure Continent. Fortunately, young master has returned safely. Young master has also benefited from this misfortune. His cultivation has risen to martial arts grandmaster and he has become a true super expert. After the four of them heard about Li Lingtian's encounter, they gradually relaxed their tensed hearts. They were even happy that Li Lingtian's cultivation base had improved. What's going on with Sky Cloud's sect? When he returned, he discovered Sky Cloud sect's Li Fire Xianyang formation, the Martial King's patrol, and the sect's aura. Without a doubt, something had happened. Big Brother Ling Tian was in the Heavenly Devil Canyon and stayed on Heavenly Devil Mountain for half a year, so he naturally doesn't know what happened in Green Province. The Tianjin Empire and the South Mountain Empire of the Green Continent have joined forces with the four mysterious families to attack the Sky Dragon Empire. Although the four mysterious families have not really attacked, they have already stood on the side of the Tianjin Empire. Sky Dragon Empire has already lost 13 cities. Now, the forces of Beiyu Empire are coming to attack Sky Cloud sect. Hence, Sky Cloud sect has activated the sect protection array. Tang Zimeng briefly told him about what had happened in Green Island. She had always been at Tianyu Peak and rarely left it. However, these things had been spread around outside, so she naturally got the news. The more chaotic, the better. Li Lingtian had a rough idea of the general situation in Green Continent after hearing that. The Sky Dragon Empire was the explosive point. The strength of the Sky Dragon Empire did not require the alliance of the Tianjin Empire and the South Mountain Empire. However, these forces had to join forces. There must be some conspiracy in the middle. However, this was also good. Since they wanted to wipe out the Heavenly Dragon, this Green Island would definitely be in chaos. In his opinion, the more chaotic it was, the better. This was beneficial to him. The more chaotic, the better. Tang Zimeng and the other three ladies were stunned. They did not understand what Li Lingtian meant. Sky Cloud's sect was about to be destroyed, but he still said that the more chaotic it was, the better. This was not Brother Lingtian's personality. After he finished speaking, he looked at Li Lingtian. Green Continent is going to be in chaos. They want to wipe out the Heavenly Dragon, so why don't the Heavenly Dragon unify Green Continent? Green Continent is too weak. Only by unifying it can we cultivate seriously. Li Lingtian spoke calmly as if he was having a meal. He did not notice the change in the four girls' expressions. The Heavenly Dragon unified the Azure Continent? Unify Green Continent? The four of them couldn't help but exclaim. The heavenly dragon was so weak that a super sect in Tianjin Empire could wipe it out. Furthermore, the entire Tianjin Empire and the Southern Mountain Empire had joined forces. There were also the four mysterious families and the Northern Nether Empire who were also making a move against Sky Cloud sect. The Sky Dragon Empire could not hold on any longer. Now that Li Lingtian had claimed that the Sky Dragon Empire would unify the Azure continent, they would definitely treat him as a lunatic if they did not understand him. That's right. Based on the current situation of the Heavenly Dragon, if we really fight, it will be overturned in half a month. However, with my existence, the Heavenly Dragon will not be wiped out. Li Lingtian's face was filled with confidence as his body exuded an invisible aura. The entire Green Continent joined forces to attack the Heavenly Dragon. Wasn't this the Island Chain War? In his previous life, his country was also like this, but he had no choice. He could only watch as some clowns were showing off. However, now that he had come to this world, he would definitely not let such a thing happen. Big Brother Ling Tian is going to make a move. With your current cultivation base, there are not many people who can be your match. However, the forces in the entire Green Continent are extremely powerful. It's impossible to change the current situation of the Heavenly Dragon. The girls were shocked when they thought of Li Lingtian's strength. Chapter 173, Chapter 173, A Shocking Sword. Chapter 173, A Shocking Sword. Li Lingtian stood on Tianyu Peak with a faint smile on his face. He was also shocked. Sky Cloud sect had actually attracted so many experts. They really thought highly of Sky Cloud sect. 9 martial emperors, 33 martial grandmasters, and 60 martial kings. He didn't care about martial arts grandmasters or martial kings, but he felt a little troubled by the 3 martial emperors. Among these martial emperors, 5 were at the 3rd level, 1 was at the 4th level, 2 were at the 5th level, and 1 was at the 6th level. Such a powerful lineup shocked all the Sky Cloud sect warriors. 9 martial emperors, 33 martial grandmasters, and the rest are all martial kings. Such a formation, could it be that they want to wipe out Sky Cloud sect? Even if it's a formation, it won't be able to hold out for long. Tens of thousands of disciples had shocked expressions on their faces. The elders in the sky also had solemn expressions. The other party had actually sent so many experts. Could it be that they wanted to wipe out Sky Cloud sect? Or was there something else that could be done? Or was it to wipe out the super sects of Sky Dragon Empire? This way, they could wipe out the backing of Sky Dragon Empire and Sky Dragon Empire would collapse. Ling Haoming, open the array. As long as Sky Cloud sect surrenders and hands over the Sky Cloud sword, we can let the disciples of Sky Cloud sect go. Otherwise, we will slaughter everyone in Sky Cloud sect. Let's go. The leader of the group, a 5th-level martial emperor, said loudly. Then, everyone spread out and formed a powerful pressure circle. A shocking pressure continuously filled the space. However, with the Li Fire Xianyang formation, they could not enter Sky Cloud sect for the time being. Lonling Tower, Heaven's Roars sect. One didn't expect that they would actually ally with others to come to my Sky Cloud sect. Is your Lonling Tower that pathetic? Aren't you afraid of the iron law of the Holy Capital and the Immortal Palace? Great Ancestor Ling Haoming's heart was also like dead ashes. Facing these powerhouses, he did not have any confidence at all. He was not afraid of a rank 3 martial emperor, but he had no chance against a rank 5 or rank 6 martial emperor. Moreover, the tens of thousands of Sky Cloud sect disciples would be destroyed by the war. As long as one of the other party's experts restrained him, Sky Cloud sect would be finished. He could only use the Holy Capital and Immortal Palace to suppress the other party. If the other party was not even afraid of the iron law of the Holy Capital and the Immortal Palace, it would be the time for Sky Cloud sect to be destroyed. Ling Haoming, the Saint Capital is far away in the Divine Continent, and the Immortal Palace is also in the Divine Continent. Do you think they will interfere in the matters of the Green Continent? The strong are respected. Even if we wipe out your Sky Cloud sect, they won't say anything. Dongfang Yu laughed loudly, and the warriors behind her also laughed. At this time, they still wanted to use the Saint Capital to suppress them. Wasn't this a joke? Dongfang Yu was a 5th-level martial emperor and was one of the strongest among the martial emperors this time. The other 5th-level martial emperor was also the Lonling Tower's Heaven's Roars sect who had started speaking. As for the other super expert, he was the Northern Yin cult's cult master, Shimin Xian, a 6th-level martial emperor. So you don't take the iron rules of the Holy Capital seriously. The Sky Sword is no longer in our hands. You have made the wrong decision. Even if it is in our hands, we will not give it to you. Ling Haoming said indifferently. Since the other party did not even care about the iron law of the Holy Capital Immortal Palace, it seemed that Sky Cloud's sect had reached its end. In that case, let's wait for us to break this array and slaughter your Sky Cloud sect. The Heaven's Roars sect said sinisterly. With a wave of a hand, all the martial kings and martial grandmasters immediately unleashed their weapons, and powerful attacks bombarded the Li Fire Xianyang formation. Rumble! Rumble! A series of earth-shattering explosions rang out. Every time there was an explosion, the warriors in Sky Cloud sect would feel a powerful impact. Even though the array formation was there to block the attacks, the power of the attacks from dozens of martial kings and martial grandmasters was still earth-shattering. Some martial artists were knocked out by the attack. Ling Tianfeng and the others watched all the experts attack the grand array with grave expressions. However, while he was solemn, he was also puzzled. He did not know who had strengthened this array to be able to withstand the attacks of so many experts. This power was even more powerful than what was recorded in the Sky Cloud sect's ancient records. Seconds passed by. The 5 martial arts grandmasters guarding the array kept casting spells to stabilize the array. However, under the attacks of all the experts, the array began to fluctuate. This formation can only last for 10 minutes at most. After 10 minutes, Sky Cloud sect's disaster will descend. This will be a test of their cohesiveness. Li Lingtian was on Tianyu Peak as he looked at the array formation's fluctuations in the distance. He muttered to himself as he lay on the chair and rested his head on Tang Zimeng's lap. He had a look of enjoyment on his face. Big brother Ling Tian has a way to deal with them? Tang Zimeng said softly as she massaged Li Lingtian's head with her fair hands. She was shocked that brother Ling Tian was not afraid at all in the face of so many powerhouses. They're just a few ants. Li Lingtian said calmly. He thought of the great battle on Demonic Mountain and the super powerhouses like Tianhao. These martial emperors were nothing more than ants. The true experts were not here, so he naturally did not take them seriously. As expected, Li Lingtian was right. The Li Fire Xianyang array was destroyed and the shocking array vanished. Sky Cloud sect was exposed to all the experts like a flock of lambs facing a pack of wolves. Kill them. The Heaven's Roars sect waved a hand, and instantly, all the ancient martial art practitioners charged toward Sky Cloud sect. Martial King and Martial Grandmaster powerhouses were like wolves in a flock of sheep when facing Sky Cloud sect disciples. All, ah, ah. Rumble. All, ah, ah. Rumble. A series of earth-shattering explosions and miserable cries rang out as countless low-level disciples were instantly killed. Sky Cloud sect's martial arts grandmaster and Ling Haoming also joined the battle. However, they were immediately surrounded by martial royal realm experts. In terms of numbers, they had already lost to the sea. Time passed by, and countless disciples died every second. The entire Sky Cloud sect was in a mess. However, none of the disciples managed to escape. The warrior spirit disciples' attacks were nothing but a tickle in front of a martial king. Light of God, destroy. Countless disciples were killed by martial kings and martial arts grandmasters. A dozen martial arts grandmasters were also restrained by 33 powerhouses. Ling Haoming kept unleashing shocking attacks, but he was suppressed by the Heaven's Roars sect and Dongfang Yu. It was simply a cat toying with a mouse. Right at this moment, the Heaven's Roars sect let out a soft shout. The true essence in their entire bodies circulated, and a shocking light appeared. The appearance of this light enveloped the entire Sky Cloud sect. The light carried a destructive power as it pressed down on Sky Cloud sect. All, ah! All, ah! In front of this destructive light, countless Sky Cloud sect disciples were crushed to death by the pressure, and cries of despair sounded. Ha, ha! Ha, ha! Sky Cloud sect is history now. No one can take the Sky Cloud sword away. Ha! Ha, ha! Seeing Sky Cloud sect's disciples dying one after another, Heaven's Roars sect burst into laughter. The other martial royal realm experts also burst into laughter. They all knew that no one in Sky Cloud sect could obtain the Sky Cloud sword. The Sky Cloud sword was naturally still there. As long as this strike landed, Sky Cloud sect would be reduced to ruins. Sigh, there are always some ants in this world who don't know what's good for them. An ethereal voice sounded. The voice was calm, but amidst the shocking light and countless screams and laughter, this voice was very conspicuous. His voice was like a dragon's roar. Chapter 174, Chapter 174, The Terror of the Ice Flame. Chapter 174, The Terror of the Ice Flame. Wuzong, I've actually reached Wuzong. It was Unknown who cried out in surprise. Everyone immediately realized Li Lingtian's cultivation realm. An 18-year-old martial arts grandmaster. Wasn't this too heaven-defying? If it were any other martial arts grandmaster, the martial royal powerhouses would not even look at them and kick them away like trash. However, they could not help but be shocked when Li Lingtian reached the martial arts grandmaster level. 2 years ago, when Li Lingtian was still a martial king, he had already killed Baichen Wuyo, a tier 4 martial emperor. Now that he was a martial grandmaster, they could not imagine how powerful he was. Thinking back to the sword light just now, he directly split a rank 5 martial emperor into two. Uncle Master, let's leave quickly. Young Master Tianhao of the Divine Continent and young Master Ming Qingfeng of the Azure Continent are also respectful to him. We can't afford to offend them. A tier 7 martial arts grandmaster middle-aged man from the Northern Nether Empire said softly. He had witnessed Tianhao and Qingfeng Ming being polite to Li Lingtian in the Heavenly Devil Canyon. Even a supreme powerhouse like him was polite to Li Lingtian. It was evident how domineering Li Lingtian was. Although his voice was soft, many experts from the Northern Nether Empire and Sky Cloud sect heard him. Frightened. There was an uproar. Even the legendary Divine Continent's super genius was respectful to Li Lingtian. What kind of concept was that? The third-level martial royal realm expert beside him had an ugly expression on his face. He knew how powerful Tianhao was. Even he could not fight back. Since you're here, stay and play. Ever since the battle at the demonic mountain, I haven't made a move. You can choose any method. As long as you can escape from my hands, I can spare you. Otherwise, all of your sects and families will be uprooted and not a single one will be left alive. Li Lingtian floated in the air as he walked down step by step. It was as if there was a ladder in the air. His movement technique was so mystical that all the powerhouses were stunned. In the air, even if a martial arts grandmaster powerhouse could fly, he could not walk on flat ground. Li Lingtian's movement technique earlier was akin to walking down a flight of stairs. Li Lingtian stopped in front of Shimin Xian and the others with a faint smile on his face. A fist-sized flame in his hand was constantly changing its shape. This flame was purple-blue in color. Although it was a flame, it carried a shocking chill. This chill made even martial arts grandmasters tremble. Ice flame. Many experts recognized it, and their expressions changed. The icy frost flame was the most terrifying flame in the world, but it was also the most terrifying ice. He did not expect Li Lingtian to have the icy frost flame in his hands. Moreover, he was playing with the icy frost flame as if it was anything. What kind of concession was this? The icy frost flame could turn a martial arts grandmaster into ashes. Every warrior feared it like a tiger, but Li Lingtian was toying with it. His tone was calm, but it made all the martial artists tremble from the bottom of their hearts. They were uprooted, leaving no one alive. When he said the last 8 words, the tone of each word was a lot heavier. Arrogant. He's just a mere Wuzong. Shimin Xian couldn't keep his face up any longer. Ever since this young man appeared, the world had revolved around him and he had become the focus of tens of thousands of martial artists. He was a 6th-level martial emperor, one of the top few in Green Continent. However, he had turned into a pustule in front of this young man. I am one arrogant. Li Lingtian smiled as he looked at a martial arts grandmaster powerhouse from the Beiyu Empire and asked indifferently. Not arrogant. The martial arts grandmaster who was asked could not help but answer. Suddenly, the atmosphere in the air paused. All the martial artists of Sky Cloud's sect could not help but laugh. Everyone, disperse. This is the end of the matter. There is no big battle to watch. They will disappoint you. Remember, you are disciples of Sky Cloud's sect. Only when you are strong will you have a chance to protect yourself. What iron law? It's only for the weak. For the strong, the iron law can be ignored. In this world, only you can save yourself. Li Lingtian maintained a smile on his face as he spoke to the disciples below. With a wave of his hand, he motioned for Sky Cloud sect's Alartial King and Martial sect to leave. It was impossible for a great battle to occur at this place. They were just some trash. They were not worthy of talking about a big war. Forget it. Hand over the Tianyu sword and I can leave. Otherwise, this matter won't be over just like that. You're just a martial arts grandmaster. What do you think you are? Shimin Xian said coldly. He did not understand what Li Lingtian meant. Not only him, but all the warriors present did not know what Li Lingtian meant. You motherf asterisk cur, you're really shameless. You'd want me to scold you. What I mean is that you guys are not worthy of fighting me. In my eyes, you guys are just ants. Since a dragon can fight ants, I'll just slap you guys to death. He really doesn't know what he looks like. Who does he think he is? The smile on Li Lingtian's face vanished as he cursed loudly. His words had stunned everyone. Immediately, everyone was shocked. So this young man actually ignored these experts so much. Good, good, good. Die. Shimin Xian was completely enraged. He couldn't care less about anything else. He had actually been played and he didn't even know what had happened. This was really humiliating. With that, a shocking pressure burst out from his body. The pressure of a 6th-level martial emperor tore the space apart. All the experts of the Northern Nether Empire quickly retreated. The Sky Cloud sect's warriors were also worried. This battle had actually evolved into a battle between a 6th-level martial emperor Shimin Xian and young master Ling Tian. I've already said that you don't deserve to be beaten up by me. Since you like to fight so much, I'll let you have your fill today. I'll make sure that you don't want to fight for the rest of your life. Li Lingtian looked at the pressure in the air. This 6th-level martial emperor's pressure was much weaker than Dishi Nanyang's. After saying that, he raised his hand and activated his divine sense. The space trembled slightly. A silver-winged flying dragon appeared in the air, and its terrifying demonic power collided with Shimin Xian's. Silver-winged flying dragon. How did the silver-winged flying dragon reach level 7? For a moment, tens of thousands of martial artists were shocked. This silver-winged flying dragon was only at the 4th level of the 5th step 2 years ago. The advancement of demonic beasts was originally 10,000 times more difficult than that of humans, but now it had actually reached the 7th level of the 5th step. Even a rank 8 martial emperor would not dare to provoke a rank 5, level 7 silver-winged flying dragon. Now, a rank 6 martial emperor was facing a rank 5, level 7 silver-winged flying dragon. He was really looking for trouble. Cripple him. If necessary, Kill him," Li Lingtian said to the silver-winged flying dragon. Upon hearing his words, all the warriors' expressions changed drastically. Who were these people? They had crippled a Tier 6 martial emperor. It was time to kill them. He could do the same to a super expert at the 6th level of the martial emperor realm, but he actually treated the 6th level of the martial emperor realm as a child. Roar! Rumble! Li Lingtian, you motherf***, you're too despicable. You bastard, you will die a horrible death. Rumble! Roar! As the battle began, the world was shocked. Li Lingtian watched from the side. The silver-winged flying dragon was the king in the sky. In an instant, the two powerful beings were engaged in a great battle in the sky. From time to time, Shimin Xian's curses could be heard, as well as the sounds of attacks. He likes to fight, and I can see that you guys like to fight too. This young master will be gentle once. As long as you can withstand one of my moves, you can escape. If you can't even take one move, then you're trash. I don't want you to insult the dignity of martial artists. Li Lingtian watched the battle in the sky before he turned to look at the remaining warriors. Wherever his gaze passed, all the warriors lowered their noble heads. Young noble Lingtian, this is a misunderstanding. Just treat us like dogs and let us go. A martial king's heart trembled and his face turned ashen. If a rank 6 martial emperor was defeated, they would have no hope. One move, what kind of words was this? The Heavens Roars sect was split into two halves by a sword. Who still dared to receive one move? F***ck off. It feels good to kill my Sky Cloud sect disciples. All die. Li Lingtian cursed and waved his hand. A strange 3-foot-long weapon appeared in his empty hand and the temperature in the air dropped instantly. In an instant, the space within 5 miles turned into a glacier. Dozens of martial kings were trapped in the glacier. In the blink of an eye, the glacier disappeared, and dozens of martial kings lost their lives. You guys can escape. If you wait until his battle is over, you won't have the chance. Li Lingtian looked at the 33 martial arts grandmaster powerhouses and spoke coldly. He put away Glacier's rift in his hand and the ball of frost flame was still spinning. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. As soon as Li Lingtian finished speaking, the 33 martial arts grandmasters had already dashed out. The 33 martial arts grandmasters scattered and fled for their lives. In that case, no matter how powerful Li Lingtian was, he would not be able to capture everyone at once. However, to everyone's surprise, Li Lingtian did not move. Instead, he had a cruel smile on his face as he tossed the icy frost flame in his hand and it split into 33 icy frost flames. The 33 icy frost flames seemed to have a mind of their own as they quickly flew towards the 33 martial arts grandmasters. All! A scream sounded from 10 miles away. After the scream, there was no longer any aura. Just as the scream was heard, a purplish-blue light spot flew toward Li Lingtian from the sky. The purplish-blue light spot returned to Li Lingtian's hand. When everyone saw it clearly, their expressions changed. It was actually a cold ice flame. It was one of the 33 cold ice flames. In other words, this cold ice flame had returned after killing a martial arts grandmaster. All, ah! All, ah! Screams were heard one after another. After each scream, a bluish-purple light spot returned to Li Lingtian's hand. The frost flame in Li Lingtian's hand grew larger. After the last scream, the bluish-purple light spot returned. The icy frost flame in Li Lingtian's hand had also returned to its original size. Moreover, the icy frost flame was clearly more powerful than before. After Li Lingtian returned to Tianyu Peak, although he did not dare to refine the icy frost flame, he managed to subdue it. This icy frost flame was only 1/10,000th of all the icy frost flames. Moreover, this icy frost flame could transform into countless streaks. After absorbing the martial artist's true essence, the ice flame became even more powerful. Chapter 175, Chapter 175, Submit 1. Chapter 175, Submit 1. This. The powerhouses in the Sky Cloud sect disciples, witnessed the 33 martial arts grandmaster powerhouses being killed in a split second without Li Lingtian making a move. This kind of elegance made people extremely envious. The person who came was a Wu Zong, but he was actually killed just like that. The martial emperors of the Northern Nether Empire could no longer maintain their expressions. Li Lingtian, how dare you kill a disciple of the Skyhowl sect? Aren't you afraid of a war between Sky Cloud sect and the Skyhowl sect? When Qingyu, a third-level martial emperor, saw that all the martial arts grandmasters had been killed, he became furious and completely forgot about his current situation. Do you have the qualifications to fight? Look in the mirror and see what kind of trash you are. Since you want to fight, I'll let you fight to your heart's content. Li Lingtian smiled. When he was finishing his sentence, he glanced at the silver-winged flying dragon and Shimen Xian in the sky. Screams and curses could be heard from above. He could imagine that a sixth-level martial emperor, the sect leader of the Northern Yin cult, was beaten to such a state. He was really unlucky. Boom! The sky trembled again, and a huge jade-eyed beast appeared in the air. Although the powerful demonic aura was not as strong as the silver-winged flying dragon, it was enough to shock a martial royal realm expert. 4th rank, level 9. There was another wave of exclamations. Although a 4th-tier level 9 demonic beast was not as powerful as a martial emperor, the strength of the demonic beast was not something that a martial emperor would dare to easily attack. A 4th order, 9th grade demonic beast. Don't tell me you want to use it against me. When Qingyu saw the jade-eyed beast, he was also shocked. However, he quickly came back to his senses. He was a 3rd-level martial emperor, so he would be afraid of a martial ancestor-level demonic beast. However, what happened next made him feel regret. This 4th-step 9th-level jade-eyed beast actually attacked fiercely and fought with all his might. The powerful demonic power carried a mysterious aura, which was enough for him to focus on dealing with the jade-eyed beast. Rumble. Rumble. In the sky, 2 groups of people were engaged in battle. Originally, Sky Cloud sect would be destroyed in the blink of an eye if the Beiyu Empire came to invade. But now, it had become like this. A few martial emperors stood aside, and Sky Cloud sect's martial artists were all watching from afar. Li Lingtian was hovering in the air as well, but the 2 demonic beasts were suppressing the 2 powerful martial emperors. I'll give you 1 minute. Either surrender or die. If you have the ability to escape, you can try. Or do you want to see my true strength? Li Lingtian's gaze fell on the other 6 martial emperors. One of them had been killed by the Heaven's Roars sect, one of the silver-winged flying dragons was suppressed, and one of the jade-eyed beasts was tied down. There were 6 left and it was time to finish them off. Seconds passed by, and the battle in the sky had come to an end. Shimen Xian, a 6th-level martial emperor, had fallen. He had been beaten up by the silver-winged flying dragon, and not a single part of his body was intact. The silver-winged flying dragon returned to Li Lingtian's side and tossed a storage pouch over. Its fist-sized eyes stared at the 6 martial emperors. Dong Fang Yu. Li Lingtian's expression turned cold. Since these martial emperors refused to submit, he had no choice but to kill them all. If they dared to invade Sky Cloud sect, they had to be mentally prepared to be killed. In this world, the strong were respected. If he was only a warrior and did not return, Sky Cloud sect would definitely be finished, and so would he. After saying that, the ice flame in his hand disappeared and was replaced by a ball of flame and a ball of ice in his hand. After the 2 extreme attributes appeared, a deathly aura and a destructive aura appeared between heaven and earth. Originally, ice and fire attributes did not have such an aura. However, these 2 extreme attributes appeared on one person. The 2 hands merged together, and the 2 extreme attributes fused together. The space between heaven and earth trembled. Ice, fire, 9 heavens, 2nd heaven, destruction. With a calm expression on his face, he pushed out with one hand and two hands. A three-colored light burst out. The light pillar ignored the distance of space and instantly bombarded Dong Fangyu. The whole process seemed slow, but it only took an instant. Even Dong Fangyu, who was a fifth-level martial emperor, couldn't use her powerful defense and attack to resist it. Rumble. With a shocking explosion, the destructive power spread out in all directions. The space trembled, and the remaining 5 martial emperors hurriedly retreated. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and the fear in his eyes turned ashen. Then, his body quickly fell into the air. The destructive power of the second heaven of ice, fire, 9 heavens directly shattered the body of a martial emperor. In the sky, there were 5 martial emperors left. One was a rank 4 martial emperor, and the other 4 were rank 3 martial kings. When they saw what was happening, they were shocked beyond words. At first, Li Lingtian had killed the Heaven's Roars sect with a single strike. However, after Li Lingtian came out, he did not make another move. He relied on the demonic beast and the frost blaze. The few martial emperors gradually had the thought of killing Li Lingtian. However, it was the first time they had witnessed Li Lingtian killing a tier 5 martial emperor like Dong Fangyu with a casual strike. We surrender. I am willing to submit. One also submit. The 5 martial emperors no longer had the courage to drag this on. If they had been any later, Li Lingtian's ice, fire, 9 heavens would have bombarded them. I also submit. In the sky, the jade-eyed beast was suppressing Qingyu's attack. Seeing that all the martial emperors on his side had surrendered and those who had not surrendered had already died, he could only submit. However, what happened next was beyond everyone's expectations. They did not expect that Li Lingtian would not make him submit. It's too late. You don't have the qualifications to submit. Die. Li Lingtian said coldly. With a wave of his hand, a bluish-purple frost flame shot into the sky before he ignored Qingyu. With a scream, the frost ice flame returned to Li Lingtian's hand. Qingyu was already dead. Hand over a soul, a fragment, and a drop of blood essence. Li Lingtian said coldly without leaving any room for negotiation. Since they were going to submit, he would not let them have the chance to betray him. In the ancient devil's memories, there was a magical and vicious spell called the Soul Extinguishing Spell. This soul extinguishing spell could destroy the opponent's consciousness. It could also wipe away the opponent's soul and extract the opponent's memories. This kind of magic was vicious, but very few people used it. After controlling the other party's soul, essence, and blood essence, no matter how powerful the other party was, he could not escape his will. If the other party had any evil thoughts, he only needed to cast a spell to kill him 1,000 miles away. There was no other way. Since they had already submitted, they could only be manipulated. After offering their blood essence and souls, Li Lingtian waved his hand and dismissed the martial emperors. Li Lingtian was the only one left in the sky. The Sky Cloud sect powerhouses watched from afar. Everything had changed drastically. A young man who was a martial arts grandmaster had easily resolved all of this. Even the martial emperors of the martial arts sect had fallen here. Even the remaining few had submitted. After the martial emperors left, Sky Cloud sect erupted in cheers. Li Lingtian had single-handedly taken on all the martial emperors and played them like a fool. Throughout the entire battle, Li Lingtian had the upper hand. No matter how powerful his opponent was, he could only passively take a beating. After the Great Tribulation, you should understand a principle, that is, the strong are respected. Only when you are strong can you be the reason. In this world, fists are the reason. Li Lingtian approached Sky Cloud sect's Ling Haoming and the others step by step. After greeting the powerhouses, he flew toward Tianyu Peak. A few powerful demonic beasts also disappeared from the Tianyu Peak. Disciple will follow your instructions. Tens of thousands of Sky Cloud sect disciples replied respectfully. They were all extremely respectful when facing a young man because this young man was an existence that they could not match up to. He was also an expert who saved the entire Sky Cloud sect and resolved the calamity with his own strength. When Li Lingtian returned to Tianyu Peak, he saw Tang Zimeng and the others waiting there. One didn't expect Brother Ling Tian's strength to have already reached this stage. At that time, he'll definitely be able to save sister. Tang Zimeng said happily as she threw herself into Li Lingtian's arms. We all have to work hard on our cultivation. It will take some time to solve the problem in the Green Continent. After we solve the problem in the Green Continent, we will go to the Azure Continent and see how powerful the Dishi family is. Li Lingtian held Tang Zimeng in his arms while the three maidservants followed behind happily. They were in Sky Cloud's sect and would be killed if Sky Cloud's sect was not around. Now that Li Lingtian had resolved Sky Cloud's sect's crisis, he was naturally excited. Li Lingtian and the others returned to the Tianyu Pavilion and resumed their normal cultivation. As for the attack on Sky Cloud's sect, no one had expected such an outcome. As the 5 martial emperors who left had been subdued by Li Lingtian, they dared not tell anyone. In Sky Cloud's sect, no one bothered Li Lingtian after he returned to Tianyu Peak. However, countless Sky Cloud sect disciples were secretly celebrating. They were celebrating that Sky Cloud sect had a heaven-defying expert and a heaven-defying monster. Li Lingtian's status was already like a god in the hearts of countless disciples. In their hearts, there was nothing Li Lingtian could not do and no one could defeat him. The Sky Sword is already in his hands. In the future, as long as there are no external forces interfering with Sky Cloud's sect, no one will dare to cause trouble in Sky Cloud's sect. He's right. Only by becoming stronger can we protect ourselves. In this world, the strong are respected, and fists are the law. Pass down my order. Sky Cloud sect disciples should work hard in their cultivation. Those with talent should be specially nurtured. This was the first time Ling Haoming had given orders in the past 100 years. This time, he finally understood what it meant to be a powerhouse. He had lived for hundreds of years and reached the 4th level of the Martial Emperor realm, becoming one of the 7 heavenly dragon experts. He thought that he was already a powerhouse, but today, he saw that an 18-year-old youth had achieved something that he could not achieve. In just a few years, this young man had already advanced from a martial apprentice to a martial grandmaster. He was capable of killing a Tier 5 martial emperor. This time, if not for this young man, Sky Cloud sect would have been gone. Sky Cloud sect had already become history. With the existence of this young man, Sky Cloud sect had to speed up its cultivation and truly become powerful. Chapter 176, Chapter 176, Shifting Flowers to Trees. Chapter 176, Shifting Flowers to Trees. 1 foot 11 inches handle this matter myself. The experts he killed this time were all super experts of the Beiyu Empire in the Green Continent. The Beiyu Empire will definitely not let this matter go so easily. We have to be on guard. Ling Tianfeng nodded. Ling Haoming was his father, and Sky Cloud's sect had been managed by the Ling family for generations. As long as the Empire of Beiyu isn't a fool, they won't invade us again. They're mainly worried about that old monster from Cloud Sky Mountain. If that old monster is in a bad mood, no one in the entire Green Continent can stop him. When Ling Haoming mentioned that old monster, his face revealed a terrified expression. In Green Continent, martial emperors were indeed invincible. But it was only after that old monster went into seclusion that they could be called invincible. 300 years ago, the old monster of Cloud Sky Mountain was already a 2nd-level martial honored realm expert. One could imagine his strength. However, after he appeared 300 years ago, he went into seclusion and never appeared again. At that time, that old monster had suppressed 27 super martial emperors in Tianjin Empire with one move. Martial emperors were like ants in front of martial honors. Those below the martial emperor realm could only be divided into several levels. However, when one reached the martial honored realm, each level was called the Great Heaven. The first level of the martial honored realm was the same as the first level of the martial emperor realm. This heaven represented the difference in strength. Every heaven was a world of difference. A difference of one heaven was a difference of one world. There was no comparison between them. Naturally, Li Lingtian did not know about this. If he did, he would not be so afraid of the revered martial artist's clone. In front of a supreme realm expert, even a martial monarch realm expert was just a group of ants. It was like a nest of ants. At most, they could not compete with a crushing machine. No matter how many ants there were, they would only be crushed and would not cause any damage to the crushing machine. It was the same between a martial emperor and a martial honor. Similarly, there was a huge difference between a first-level martial honor and a second-level martial honor. In general, the difference between a first-level martial honored realm and a second-level martial honored realm was like the difference between a first-level martial ancestor and a first-level martial emperor. One could imagine how terrifying the power after the martial honored realm was. Before the martial emperor realm, it was just strength. However, after the martial honored realm, all kinds of magical almighty techniques and magical skills appeared. The power of a martial emperor realm expert was simply unimaginable. That old monster has been living in seclusion in the Cloud Sky Mountain for 300 years. He should be cultivating some kind of mysterious cultivation technique. All these years have passed, so I believe he won't appear during this period of time. Ling Tianfeng's expression was grave. The other martial arts grandmasters also had ugly expressions on their faces. When it came to martial honors, martial emperors and martial arts grandmasters were all afraid. Let's not bother about him now. Take care of Sky Cloud sect. Ling Haoming pondered for a while, then left the Divine Cloud Palace and flew towards the depths of Sky Cloud sect. At Tianyu Peak, Li Lingtian had been cultivating non-stop, comprehending all kinds of skills and alchemy techniques while consuming purple jade pills to improve his cultivation base. Tang Zimeng's strength had also reached rank for Martial King realm, and her 3 maids had also reached the Martial King realm. On this day, Li Lingtian's face was filled with excitement as he called Tang Zimeng and the others outside the Tianyu pavilion. Big brother Ling Tian, you look so happy. What's the matter? Let's be happy too. Tang Zimeng asked in a coquettish voice when she saw Li Lingtian's excited expression. The other 3 maids were also looking at him curiously. I've cultivated a new skill. Try attacking me with your full strength. Li Lingtian said earnestly. He was extremely excited to have cultivated such a skill because it was extremely magical. Big brother Ling Tian, be careful. Tang Zimeng was well aware of Li Lingtian's strength. Even a martial emperor could not defeat him. Her cultivation base was no different from scratching an itch. With that said, he circulated his true qi and unleashed a powerful attack at Li Lingtian. A Tier 4 warrior king's might was nothing in front of Li Lingtian. However, in the divine martial continent, a warrior king was considered a minor expert. With a single blow, the air whistled as the powerful attack arrived before Li Lingtian in the blink of an eye. The 4 ladies were astonished as Li Lingtian did not move at all. He allowed the force to attack him. However, at that moment, Li Lingtian's protective barrier flashed and he shouted softly. Shifting flowers and grafting trees, heaven and earth great shift. The attack landed on Li Lingtian's protective barrier but strangely, it was diverted elsewhere. Boom! With a loud explosion, a stone with a radius of 1 meter was blasted into pieces. The attack had completely changed its direction. It was clearly aimed at Li Lingtian but it ended up behind Tang Zimeng and the others. The 4 girls were stunned for a moment. Li Lingtian's strength had shocked them, but the miraculous transformation just now had them even more stunned. Yes, it's indeed magical. Li Lingtian was elated when he saw the power of the transposition of flowers and trees he had cultivated. His opponent was only a warrior king and he could not test the power of the transposition of flowers and trees. However, it could prove that he had cultivated the skill. As long as he strengthened his cultivation, he could truly master the skill. His cultivation base was a martial arts grandmaster. Even if he did not use this skill, he could easily resolve Tang Zimeng's attack. Moreover, after his cultivation had reached the martial arts grandmaster level, the true dragon body protection had also been upgraded to the second level. He could also withstand the full-force attack of a Tier 5 martial arts grandmaster. Big brother Ling Tian, what skill is this? It's so mystical. Tang Zimeng was the first to regain her senses. She was extremely curious about Li Lingtian's move. It was indeed cool to be able to neutralize and divert his opponent's attack without making a move. Shifting flowers and grafting trees. I discovered this skill when one was recuperating on Demonic Mountain the last time. This skill is also a cultivation technique. When cultivated to the highest level, it can steal the sky and change the sun. Li Lingtian spoke in a serious tone. He had been studying this skill for a long time on Demonic Mountain. Although he had some control over it, this was his first time testing it. That's amazing. Can Meng Meng cultivate? After Tang Zimeng finished speaking, Qingping and the other two looked at Li Lingtian enviously. If they could learn this move, they would be able to improve their abilities by a whole new level. Of course you can. After Li Lingtian finished speaking, he sent a stream of consciousness into Tang Zimeng's glabella. The skill, transposition, entered Tang Zimeng's awareness. Then, he passed the skill to Li Xiaoxiao and the other two. The three of them were stunned. They never expected Li Lingtian to impart such a skill to them. A skill that even Li Lingtian was excited about must be extremely precious. A good skill was often a martial artist's life-saving move. It would not be taught to others even if it was killed. However, Li Lingtian did not hesitate at all to pass on this magical skill to them. Following that, Tang Zimeng and the others focused on their cultivation while Li Lingtian made some arrangements for his future life. His current cultivation was a first-level martial arts grandmaster, but his strength could defeat a powerhouse below the 5th level of a martial emperor. Part of it was his cultivation technique, and the other part was his skills and treasures. He had a direction in his heart. Ice, Fire, Ninth Heaven was a trump card, but if he wanted to raise it, he would have to obtain all kinds of alien flames and ice. There was also the Heaven-Destroying Sword formation. As for cultivating the Heaven-Destroying Sword formation, it was endless slaughter and cultivating sword intent. This was in terms of skills. Other skills were indispensable. At this moment, he basically ignored skills below the Earth rank. The cultivation technique was the Heaven and Earth reincarnation technique and the True Dragon body protection. These were all cultivation techniques that could not be relaxed. However, the most important thing was the ancient alchemy technique. Only by improving his alchemy technique and refining a magical pill could his cultivation increase rapidly. He couldn't slack off on the divine array either, because he still had to build an aircraft carrier and find materials. These were all very important things. After sorting it out, it was basically to increase the Ice, Fire, Ninth Heaven's frost and raging flames. This was an existence that could only be encountered by luck. He had to work hard to cultivate all kinds of skills. What he needed to do now was to find materials to build an aircraft carrier and find pill formulas to increase his cultivation. After 3 days, he had roughly listed out the materials he needed. He made a list of the materials he needed. If he encountered any of the materials on the list, he would get them no matter what method he used. During this period of time, Green Continent was in chaos. He could take the opportunity to look for materials and pill formulas. After arranging everything, Ling Tian started to cultivate in peace. He had many skills and cultivation techniques, and his treasures needed constant nourishment. With all these things happening together, he basically had no time to spare. However, he had also set a rule for himself to rest for at least 4 hours every day so that he could accompany Tang Zimeng. As the days passed, the chaos in Green Island had reached its peak. Great wars broke out everywhere. There were conflicts between sects and wars between empires. Sky Cloud's sect had also sent out more than half of their forces to support Sky Dragon Empire. If Sky Dragon Empire was gone, the 4 great sects would also disappear. In the entire Green Continent, only Tianyu Peak was the quietest. However, on this day, Sky Cloud sect sent news that tens of millions of troops from Tianjin Empire and South Mountain Empire had arrived at Tianlong. Sky Dragon Great City was completely surrounded. All the other cities had fallen, and the people of Sky Dragon Empire were in dire straits. Sky Dragon Empire is at a critical juncture. The 4 great sects and 10 great families are basically all in Sky Dragon City. Pavilion Master, what do you think? Ling Tianfeng explained the general situation of Sky Dragon Empire. The situation was not optimistic. If this continued, Sky Dragon City would be destroyed, and Sky Dragon Empire would be completely destroyed. However, Sky Dragon City had the ancient nation sealing formation, so they couldn't break through it in a short time. He did not know why a few super empires were attacking Sky Dragon Empire. Green Continent only had so many resources, but Sky Dragon Empire's resources were the worst. It should not be for resources. However, no one knew why the Tianjin Empire and the South Mountain Empire had joined forces to attack. Moreover, they had braved the iron law of the Holy Capital and the Immortal Palace to attack the Heavenly Dragon. That you're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.